Alright, boys and girls, girls and boys, it's your boy King Jiffy Coats, and today we're gonna get a wet, wild, and crazy on the bee. You know how we do it over here in Goonsville, in absolute degenerate land. Yep, that's right, we have fun. We have a lot of fun, and tonight I have a bunch of anime lined up, a bunch of different, fun little rabbit holes. I'm not going to be doing any drama tonight. No drama tonight, boys and girls. So if you're somebody who wants to see me do drama, I'm sorry. It's not a night for that. There's really nothing no new updates or anything that I want to cover tonight. So, oh well. But anyways, first video we got here is Red, Living on the Edge, the Native American manga by Sandman. Whatever. But anyways, we're gonna jump right into this. I kind of got this as a recommendation from another video I watched on the channel, so I'm really excited to see how this goes down.
Yep.
Oh, this video contains imagery and discussions of racial discrimination and blah 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 blah.
We're going there. Anime is not really that diverse, and it wouldn't hurt to be. It's not that surprising. Japan is one of the least diverse countries out there, so of course...
Absolutely. Japan, and they're wildly kind of racist over there. And it's not like racist, they're more xenophobic, I guess. They do not like anybody that is not Japanese. They have like Japanese-only restaurants.
Their media reflects this. The few people of color who do appear are either background characters, side characters, or... let's just say other.
Okay, get the fuck out of here. I already hate this, dude. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. The Dragon Ball Z thing, they're not a black person. They're an alien. Get out of here, dude. I hate when they do that.
Manga that not
this might set me off, dude. I might be going here and I might get set off, dude. I hate when we do that race baiting stuff that like the guy who created Dragon Ball Z was trying to make like the most racist depiction of a black guy ever when he has other black characters in the show and they don't look near that dark. So get out of here.
Not only stars a person of color, but also depicts racial discrimination and is an adventure shonen. That's really rare. What started as a one-off recommendation turned out to be one of the funnest mangas I have read in a long-ass time.
About that song, but it always bothers me a little bit when we do anime intros on our YouTube videos. Again, I'm kind of being a little bit mad at this guy here, but I just don't like when we do anime intros on our YouTube videos. I know that it's cool editing, it's clever. It's just, for me personally, don't like it. I'll just skip it. I like to just skip it to get to the actual video.
You know that moment when you meet someone who's also in anime and you both start trading off names and recommendations? That's how I found out about this. It's funny because out of all the things he recommended me, this is the one he talked about the least. But after starting it, I couldn't put it down. The story is about a former samurai named Yiro who lost a battle in the late 1800s during the Satsuma Rebellion. He couldn't bring himself to commit seppuku and instead exiled himself to America out in the frontier. After some events, he runs into a Native American named Red Sun, later on just Red. He's a Sioux Wissa, and when he was young, witnessed his entire tribe slaughtered by a military division known as the Blue Platoon. As far as he knows, he's the only surviving member of his tribe. As revenge, he seeks out to kill every surviving member of the platoon. Later on, they run into Angie, a former prostitute who's really good with a gun, Gray, a mercenary who's disguised as a preacher, and as it goes on, more...
Oh yeah, we're getting all the tropes. We're getting all like the crazy Western tropes. Let's get into it, boys. I'm already liking this. This has got a lot of spaghetti Western vibes.
Characters are introduced and more is revealed. It's not just a Western version of Journey to the West. It has its own meanings and morals that you rarely see in adventure manga. Yeah, it goes there. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It lasted for...
Dude, hate the white man. That's the only race you're allowed to hate is white people. Remember that, guys.
From 1998 to 2005, but it was just translated last year. It was written and drawn by Kinchi Marita, who didn't do much else. This manga was even serialized in a magazine that was really short-lived. and the writing kinda shows. It's hard to explain, but it's written like it's about to get cancelled the very next chapter. My guess is that because of the unusual setting, he was probably afraid it would get scrapped like other mangas with similar settings. The whole story is unusually paced for its genre, which is the best part, but also the worst flaw. The best part is because nothing really drags on. It's fast-paced, but in a good way. As much as I love anime and manga, it's hard for me to get into adventure.
Dude, here's the thing, problem with Hunter x Hunter. I'm gonna be real with you. Every arc can be separated from the last arc, and it feels like it's a completely new show. And I think that's the biggest problem with Hunter x Hunter. And I will reiterate that every time it's thrown up on screen, and how it's great. It's a piece of beautiful artwork, but it is not as it's not as perfect as people make it out to be.
Battle shonens, mainly because it just starts to drag after a while. It's a personal thing, and I know the term shonen may not be the right term. It really just translates to stories for young boys. In fact, this is more of a seinen, meaning it's really hard R. But you know what I mean. Stories with long stretching arcs, adventures that last forever, backstories, and slow fighting. For me, it can be hit or miss. But because this goes at a much faster pace, nothing drags. Like, for example, a lot of shonens like to have backstory arcs. This has a few, but on average, they're only like 4 or 5 chapters. The only one that's long was Yiro's, and that's just felt right. It focuses on the villain of the week while they build up to the final boss, he's a real treat. The main character.
But I do feel like already I'm getting the vibes. This was definitely somebody who read Blood Meridian in Japan and was like, this is peak narrative gorgeousness, and I need to make kind of my own version, but I want to put a twist on it. I want the native guy to be the good guy in this one. I want to have that cool Indian story, and I like that. I do. I really do think that's really cool. So I like when we have the gunslinger and the cool Native American guy. I like when we got that like nice, well-rounded crew in a Western. I always have. Like, one of my favorite movies of all time is dang it, dude, I'm forgetting the name. Ugh, it's hitting me. The Outlaw Josie Wales, dude. I kept wanting to say a Fistful of Dollars, but it's Outlaw Josie Wales. And the Indian side character in that, or the co-star in that, is just fantastic, dude. It's such a great character. He's not really like a combat character, but he's still wildly interesting.
Red goes through some changes. I like when we first meet him.
Also, it was like the first time as a kid I saw a movie where it had like an Indian character that was the same type of Indian as me, right? Because I'm Cherokee, and I'm not a lot, dude. I'm not sitting here like, I'm not Elizabeth Warren, like I'm like 472% native, and then she's like a sneeze dribble of a feather off of a native's hat, right? Like not like a headdress. No. It's just some native dude lost his feather out of his fucking cowboy hat, and it like flew into her vagina. But like, I'm like a little more native than that, but at the same time, dude, it's like, it was cool because you don't see a lot of Cherokee Indians.
It's all happy and nice spirited, and then
not in cinema anyway. So they're just not the combat. They're not Apaches. They're not like the Sioux. They're not all the cool ones, I guess, in terms of like the cool Wild West stories.
About a quarter of the way, he just turns into guts. The more we learn of his backstory, the angrier he gets. They really develop his family and tribe, and what happens after, well, we'll get there later. Red is just a great main character. His actions feel just, and when he becomes more violent, it does just kind of happen. Again, fast-paced, but it makes sense the more you learn. Yiro is first portrayed as a cowardly samurai who's trying to find courage. Then it kind of focuses on finding friendship between him and Red. He really wants to help Red and become his friend, but Red is just too focused on his goal. This comes from when he had a friend back in Japan that abandoned him, so there's a lot of back and forth between them. He also
by the way, it is kind of hilarious that the samurai died because guns were invented. Not like hilarious, like but like, yeah, it's kind of ironic you guys thought you could beat guns with swords. That was a really dumb move there, compadre.
Has a giant ass musket left over from the Edo period, and you bet it's based off of an obscure prototype. He keeps saying he doesn't need a scope.
No, it's that the way it looks like it was the dude saw a picture online of a punt gun and was like, oh, that's something people carried. I'm putting that in the book, when it was supposed to be attached to ships.
We can shoot from miles away. Does that make sense? No, but it's presented in a way that can make me suspend my disbelief enough. Angie is just overall great. She's strong, smart, and just overall cute. She was a prostitute, but she knows how to use a gun. When she was younger, she grew up with a native, so she has this connection with Red. There's a bunch of other characters like Gray, the bounty hunter disguised as a pastor whose father was a Swedish immigrant, Goldsmith, who was a private in the Blue Platoon, and Red just keeps him alive for more.
All right, boys and girls. So, like, we saw the picture of the gun, and here's the punt gun, dude. Here's the punt gun. This is a punt gun. They look a lot like what he's shooting. They have the big thing, like, right? It looks very similar. We get a picture of people actually holding a punt gun. There is a punt gun. Now, these were actually banned. They're not banned, so you can't, not that you can't own them, but you can definitely own them right here. This dude's shooting a punt gun. This is like a newer iteration of it. But the reason most people don't own them and why they're not still in development is because they were made to be put on ships, right? They were made to be put on ships for duck hunting. They were a duck hunting gun. And the reason they were banned for hunting is because they were just a little bit too OP. They were a little bit too OP. You'd fire this son of a bitch into a flock of ducks, and there is no ducks flying anymore. You have officially outski Mikowski'd all the ducks in the horizon. So it was a little bit too OP. Its build was too broken and needed to be patched out of the game. So that is why punt guns are no longer really out there anymore. Now, again, they still make them, they still shoot them or whatever. I think that this is like, I don't know, but maybe there is still places to let you hunt with punt guns. I don't know. I know they're banned in the early days when they were actually popular. Yeah, dude, people would just be like cruising along on like schmiggle-biggle machines, dude, and just like there is nothing good about this machine. This machine looks like a piece of shit. So it's not like a giggity schmoodle machine. The only thing giggity schmoodle is the fucking punt gun. The rest is just schmiggle-biggle. But they're all in little schmiggle-biggle machines, just trying to like blast the entire ecosystem out of developing the land.
Arms. Chirika, a young Apache boy who follows around Red. Look at him wearing a tuxedo. And Scarlet, a brave, helpful little girl whose story you just have to see for yourself. I'm sorry, it's just really one of those stories. Every character looks distinct. No two characters look alike. Well, I mean, there are these twin characters, but you know what I mean. Every character is fine detailed. It's impressive to keep this track going for 150 chapters, especially at the time. In the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a style called Muruku Kuseki. The idea to make characters look...
Sorry guys, dude. I'm laughing here because my baby decided to put her pants on her head. What a doofus! Dude, babies do the darndest things.
Look the same despite regional differences. The idea was to make everyone stateless, but it was probably just to make it easier to animate. But his art style is just overall unique. Even has some downright beautiful illustrations with this depthless coloring. There's no fine detail, it's just high contrast black and white colors. Reminds me of Frank Miller style. A lot of people like to criticize manga for being all black and white, but these pages show that you can do a lot with just limited colors. With the faces being so specific, it was really refreshing. Plus the setting too. It's a Western, and I do think there are some people who might be turned off from that.
You're a pussy if you're turned off by Westerns. Westerns are dope, dude. Go watch yourself. Watch The Cowboys with John Wayne, dude. The Cowboys with John Wayne is one of the greatest films of all time, and if you don't believe that, you're stupid and have absolutely no love in your heart. It is one of the best soundtracks you will ever hear in a movie, dude. You think the dude who did Star Wars, what is his name? I can't remember. Let me know in the comments below. While you're down there, like and subscribe. But he's the big composer guy who did Star Wars. You think his Star Wars was his greatest? No. His best soundtrack of all time was 1,000, 2 billion, gajillion %. Absolutely, without a doubt, was the Cowboys, dude. The Cowboys soundtrack is so good.
And I get it. In America, Westerns have been milked to the point where even today there are just shovel loads of B-tier movies. But that doesn't mean they're all bad. The great Westerns are the ones that can do something new with the genre. I don't think someone should be so dismissive to a genre just because of a few bad works, or a lot of bad works. Point is, there are more good Westerns out there than you might think, and this is definitely one of them. In fact, I can see
Western genre is a dope genre, and I don't care what anybody says.
A lot of love for other Westerns in this. There's the Swedish cowboy that you see in a lot of spaghetti Westerns. The samurai in the frontier sounds a lot like the plot to Red Son. There's the black leather goons, just like the ones in Django Kill. I want to say that the perfume flowers are a reference to Dead Man. The plot of a Native American avenging his tribe is similar to Navajo Joe. And it's been a while, but I think this shot's a reference to Broken Arrow. Yeah, but it's not all positivity. I've sundanced around it enough. Like, they try to paint Grover Cleveland in this kind of sympathetic light, and it's like, did you forget about the Dawes Act or something? There's also a scene.
The Dawes Act? Well, I don't even know that much about Grover Cleveland, so... I know he was a president for too long. Dawes Act. What is the Dawes Act? All right. Dawes Act of 1887, also known as Dawes Servility Act or General Autonomy Act, was signed by law. Grover Cleveland on February 8th, 1887, authorized the president to confiscate and redistribute tribal lands in the American West. The law divided tribal lands of the Native Americans into individual allotments and encouraged the assimilation of Native Americans into American society. The Dawes Act expedited the cultural genocide of Native Americans by illegally dissolving 90 million acres of land. Okay. So, I mean, as bad as that is, it happened. Who cares? Move on. Like, I feel bad for it, right? Like, oh no, like in the 1800s, they dissolved they fucking took Native Americans' land. Well, it's over. Like, there's, like, I hate when, like, we're just gonna, like, harp on this shit. See, I knew some of this shit was gonna come up, and, like, here's my thing, right? And it's just this, like, this normalized modern society look at, like, oh, well, we should feel bad for everything that happened in the past. Well, we can't fucking do anything about it, so who cares? Like, get the fuck over it, dude.
That's just scarcely like a school shooting, and it came out in 98, so it's just a bad coincidence, really. Remember when I said it was fast and that was both a good and bad thing? Well, the bad is that it doesn't know what a transition is. This manga is very violent. In fact, if you're not one for violence, I have a hard time recommending this. There are some brutal depictions of Native Americans getting slaughtered.
By the way, I do think, like, the Native Americans getting slaughtered and shit, that was really, really bad. It was bad, like, like, objectively bad, right? And I do think that, like, history does need to be recognized, and you should learn about it. It's definitely something very important. I feel like I kind of swept a little bit there, and I feel like it's gonna come off super disingenuous when that's not what I'm trying to do at all. It's just like, I feel like now in today's society, we gotta feel like we have to put this shit in. We have to talk about it. We have to acknowledge it. And it comes off a little condescending at time, right? Like, I know he just put that in as a quick joke. It's decent. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It's like, I don't know, dude. I don't know, like, what the idea was at the time. I know that there was, like, the wars that happened that were also just kind of just killing a bunch of natives. There was the Trail of Tears, which was one of the most disgusting things to ever happen. And it's like, there was a lot of bad, but I feel like at this point we're so far removed that it's like, you can look at it, say it's bad, but you can also not harp on it forever, right? I mean, I still like stories like this, though. I like stories where you get to see, like, these people who lose all their loved ones and they get back their revenge, because honestly, like, it was fucking hilarious when General Custer had his last stand. It was so funny, dude. Well, could you imagine? Let's take ourselves back to that time period, right? Let's go back in time for a smidgen. Imagine you're General fucking Custard, and you're like, I have this gravity Gatling gun, right? I got a cranky doodle, right? I got myself a cranky doodle. But these stupid savages, I don't need a cranky doodle. I just need to go in there and just whoop some ass. And, like, literally get surrounded instantly and get just obliterated. Absolutely obliterated. You should have brought the cranky doodle, you dipshit. Like, what a El Bozo move, dude. Like, absolutely got his ass fucking wiped, and deservedly so, dude. Could you imagine being like, oh no, I got this tactical nuke, but I'm not gonna bring it because they're not that scary. I'm a big tough guy.
It really wants to be taken seriously, but also wants to be a fun adventure manga. It wants to have that Rurouni Kenshin realism, where it's not realistic, but presented in a believable way. Like, for example, Red has this huge revolver that hurts him the more he uses it, to the
By
point...
the way, really crazy thing, and this is something I learned after I started watching Rurouni Kenshin. Because I was like, what's so controversial? Because I was like, something popped up and it was like, Rurouni Kenshin's remake is amazing, but still controversial. I'm like, what's controversial about this? I'd watched like 3 episodes. And I found out that the dude was definitely a kid sniffer, bro. Definitely a kid sniffer who wrote Rurouni Kenshin. And it's one of those things that it's like crazy. I do still want to finish it because I do feel like it's important to separate the art from the artist. Even if you were talking about like Kanye West, right? You guys, it's like awful as Kanye West is. I mean, okay, so actually kid sniffer way worse than Kanye West. I'm sorry, dude. Being a little bit racist is not as bad as like going after children. I don't think this is even an argument. This isn't even the same level. It's like, oh, serial killer versus somebody who said the N-word on Twitter too many times. Serial killer's a bit worse. They're not a bit, a lot worse. Same thing with a kid sniffer, dude. Kid sniffer's way worse than somebody who's just racist. Anyways, we're gonna like get back to the nitty gritty, right? But I think it's important to separate the art from the artist, right? And I eventually want to watch it, but like, there's still a part of me that's like, dude, I'm watching something made by somebody who liked kids, and that sits uncomfortable for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base. Maybe Rurouni Kenshin is absolutely amazing. I've only watched the first 2 episodes and then read that article, and I was like, like it's still a little fresh for me knowing that information to jump in it. I still haven't like gone out and watched a lot of Kevin Spacey movies since I found out what type of stuff he was doing, bro.
And it can break his
And
arm.
it's not that, again, that I don't think the art shouldn't be like judged as the art by itself, because when I watch it, I'm not going to be watching it because Kevin Spacey's in it. I'm going to be watching it to judge it as an art piece, not as any of the outside features, which I think is such a problem with modern society. It's like, I'm going to pull all these other features in and like hyper focus on those and not actually judge this on the piece itself. I'm going to judge it on, oh, well, I don't like Sean Penn's politics. I don't like Mel Gibson's politics. I don't give a shit about that. I'm watching it for the characters in the story. So eventually I will watch it. It's just a little fresh.
Believable, but not realistic. But at the same time, it wants to be real. Like, there's literally a chapter showing these people getting brutally murdered, and the next is a cute Lost Boys story. I think it might just because I'm reading it wrong. It was made for a monthly magazine, so the consistency is supposed to be more spread out. But there are still those brutal history and killings, which you can't really ignore. American history is flooded with sin. It's almost unavoidable to discuss the people who lived without bringing into those who died. The reason why most
and this is, I hate when they just, I understand that in context of this, it is just American history, and I'm going to defend America. I fucking am, dude, because there's not a country on this entire fucking planet that isn't covered in the same amount of sin and atrocities. I'm sorry, dude, there's not a single one in the world. It's just America became the big shiny guy on the hill, and for some reason our society wants to make sure that we always have to atone for our past, when it's like, dude, like 80% of this shit is also what England did. England started most of this shit, and they just like look at us like we're the bad guys. It's such bullshit, bro. It's such bullshit. It's like, oh, dude, I can't believe America didn't atone from slavery. It's like, fuck, you guys were the ones who brought the slaves over, dog. Like, you started this shit, dude. You started it. And then, like, now you guys just point and laugh at us. Shut the fuck up, dude. You guys are worse than we are. You did way more atrocities, bro. Like, I'm so sick of this shit. This is what pisses me off about this shit. It's like, we're, like, as a collective in the world, and I hate getting into this, like, political realm of things. But, like, it's like, dude, there was not a single place on this entire fucking planet where we didn't beat the shit out of each other. And is it awful? Absolutely. But is it just a fact of life and the society eventually getting to the point it is now? Yeah, dude. And as sad as that is, that's the world, bro. And I'm like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not gonna sit here and then feel bad because of what happened to my ancestors, right? It's like, even like, I'm sure that I had some ancestors that were like fucking goon bags, and then some ancestors that were fucking victims, right? Because I'm mudded out to the extreme because my family's been here in like so long or whatever. Some of them were like, I'm like fourth generation on one side, and then like on the other side I'm like since the beginning of America or whatever. And it's like, so of course there's gonna be good mixed with the bad. It's just how it is. And I think that the fact that we're like touting it that America's just a land built on evil and sin, it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
People don't like Westerns is that most of them just ignore history. But not this Western.
Well, I mean, fuck you, dude. I fucking hate this, too. This is ignore history, and he put this... Dude, this is what pisses me off with these fucking people who can't just watch a piece. They're like, oh, you're allowed to have fun fucking, enjoyable shit, but you can't have it with the West. You can't have it with the West. You can't have, like, a fun Western fantasy without admitting and atoning for the fucking past, dude. It's gay, dude. It's gay. Like, yes, there's different fucking genres. Some shit's gonna be more fun revenge flick. Other shit's going to be a crucial look at the past. It's going to fucking happen. Oh, well, they romanticize it too much. Dude, that's because most people don't want to go to the movie and watch just a genocide happen. Like, is that crazy? Is that such a crazy fucking thing? And, like, don't get me wrong, like, this is good, but, like, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of like jaded a little bit, and I think this guy's made an incredible video. Maybe I'm probably the one that's jaded. To be honest, I'm probably the one that's jaded. I'm just so fucking sick of the fact that it's like we have to be like super critical of old Westerns. I think it's also because I hold Westerns in a really dear place in my heart. So like those old cool like John Wayne movies, I love them, dude. I absolutely love them. And the fact that we're gonna sit here and we're gonna pretend that like, oh, well, they glorified the West and we needed to vilify it the whole time. Shut the fuck up, dude. You guys are pussies.
Manga has some gory slaughters and murders and other gross imagery of racial discrimination. Yeah, I'm personally fine with bloody stories, but because of the subject matter, I took back a few times. It's not like Berserk, where it's obviously a fantasy. Shit like this actually happened. This manga knows its history. Not just the brutal killing.
Does it though? Or is it an exaggerated? It's like, is it a brutal exaggerated look? Because I'm sure there is some exaggeration. I mean, even fucking Blood Meridian takes its own liberties. Because like, of course there was bad shit. Absolutely, there was bad shit. But there's also there. This is where I get to where I get a little annoyed, where it's like this, like it's this it's overcorrection, right? It's an overcorrection to the point that it's like, well, where you're painting this brush that all of America was evil, right? All the military was evil. There wasn't any bad Indians, right? There was, none of them were bad. None of the tribes were like attacking and shit. None of that happened. It was all this without actually being able to. You're just like taking portions of what you want to believe without taking portions of the other side. When I think that there was a lot of both. I think there was a lot of both, and there was a lot of turmoil, and of course there was a lot of death. That is shit that fucking happens, and this was like 100 years ago, dude. Like, come on.
But the small aspects as well. It shows off that American optimism, but then it's circumvented by someone getting called a slur. What other manga can bring in the subject matter? Even in Yiro's backstory.
And believe me, dude, that shit was accurate though. That part is pretty accurate. There was like dude, people would be racist as fuck out there, and that's not okay.
Arc, when he goes back to Japan, they try to bring in a little of that discrimination in there. It's nowhere similar, and they don't try to compare it, but it's just a theme that goes on. You might have also seen the names with colors. Everyone seems to be named after a color. Color seems to be a big thing, which I guess you could connect with race. One other theme is crying. I think every character cried at least once, and the villain has his own deal with it. When confronted with death, the only thing you can do is cry. It's proof that you're human. For such a violent manga, it has a lot of themes of compassion and equality. But I still think it could be seen as a little too violent. Is it disrespectful to depict atrocities in such a simple medium? Or is it necessary?
Oh my god.
To show the pain and hardships of history? It's an art debate that doesn't seem to have
So like this is the one that hits home, dude. But like, I'm sure there's a million fucking samurai manga this guy's read, dude. That where it's samurais killing other samurais, and it wasn't a big fucking deal then. But now that it's killing natives, it's not okay. Like this is where you virtue signal too close to the sun, right? Because now that it has to do with another race. Now, oh well, it's not race, the same race on the same race violence. Well, now it's different. Now it's different. It's showing, and this is where you get caught up in like your like bullshit. I just kind of wanted to look at like the beauty of it and like the thing, but it seems like we spent so much like talking about the problems of the past and the problems with the West, and maybe I'm just hyper focusing on it, but I really wish we would have talked about like the story of the people.
an answer, and I'm sorry, but I don't have one either. But I can say this. There's a page where the author states that he's against discrimination and just depicts it to be more realistic. By the end, he thanks the Lakota people. There's not much detail other than that, but hey, this is already pretty obscure. There's evidence that he really cares, that this is made with respect. This is a manga about a diverse group of people killing military men to avenge the death of natives. We can debate about how well its depictions are, but you can't deny that this was made with respect of those who are oppressed and with resentment towards those who continue to oppress.
Oh my god! Dude, I'm sorry, dude. The continue to oppress thing. This is a dog. This isn't a dog shit video. It's a good video. I'm letting my preconceived biases get in the way. Dude, I don't know, dude. I don't know. We can't just like talk about like be like I want to get the brutalities out of the way first. If we like, let's preface it with that, dude. Let's preface it with that. You do a little section here where you talk about it, like you do about 2 seconds, but like art and world, the bad, and then themes and depictions. Like it's like we're gonna touch on it here. 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 And it's like, dude, I fucking get it, dude. Like, I get it. Like, I get it. You don't like what happened during the Western time period. Like, Jesus Christ.
Plus, this is the only manga that makes coonskin caps look cool.
Okay, that's bullshit, dude. Coonskin caps were cool in a lot of movies. Okay, now you're a dipshit. This is a bad video. Dude, he obviously hasn't seen any of the Alamo movies. The Alamo, like either the original, let me see, John Wayne Coonskin, dude, did he wear it? It wasn't John Wayne. Was it John Wayne? Yeah, dude. Bro looks fucking goated, dude. Bro looks goated. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Was goated in that shit. This is the one. This is the one I was talking about, dude. Look how goated he was in that fucking coonskin hat, bro. Dude was like a Goaty McGoaterson, bro. And then we had, hold on. Look at this, dude. Look how goated he looks. Get the fuck out of here, brother. Get out of here, brother. Dude had some drip going. My dude, my broha. You're fucking off base bullshit, dude. This is bullshit, dude. You get a, I don't know. Your video still gets a like, dude. Yeah, dude. Like, yeah, dude, I get it. Like, oh my god, dude. I love a manga revenge part because the revenge is on the mind. Don't forget to dig up 2 grades. Yeah, dude.
Hey, do you want something else?
Oh, virtue signaling, dude. Yeah, dude. And I mean, I'm at fault too for like bringing up that I'm Cherokee or whatever, but I don't know, dude. I don't know. I wish we would have just like gone into the themes and the characters and what makes them interesting a little more, just a little more. Maybe start with like the main character and like bring up the atrocities of America and stuff and be like, listen, this is gonna get a little heavy-handed, and I'm not gonna let my bias. I'm gonna try not to let my bias show too hard, or maybe I don't know. I'm biased as fuck on my videos, so I really have no room to judge. So that's why I give him a like at the end of the day. But I don't know, guys. I don't know, dude. here's my position. It still seems cool as fuck. It definitely still seems cool as fuck, and I get it. I get it. Like I like movies like Hidalgo too, where it shows like the brutality. It doesn't sugarcoat the brutality as well. But I just had a feeling that he was gonna kind of go in the direction of instill to this day. Whenever you hear the instill to this day, it's like it's bullshit, dude. It's bullshit. Get the fuck out of here, dude. I hate it. I hate it, dude. It's like we're gonna just keep perpetuating. We're gonna keep perpetuating. We're gonna sit here and we're gonna paint the entire. Like, we're not gonna look at the past and say, hey, yeah, some of it what happened was bad, but there was also some like really good that came out of that period, right? There was that brought us to the country we are now. That is one of the most diverse countries on the entire planet, and I'm sorry. We have our problems, but we are still like a pretty badass society, in my opinion. I think America's fucking dope. I'm always gonna think that America's fucking dope. I'm sick of people pretending and having to kowtow to pretend that like they don't love this fucking country. But it's like, go fucking somewhere else, dude. Go find somewhere else. Go figure somewhere else out that doesn't have atrocities. Don't look at their history, because don't look at England's history with the Irish and the Scottish and every other group that they've ever oppressed. Always don't look at them. Don't look at them. Oh no, because their hands are fucking clean. I'm so sick of everybody acting like the U.S. is the worst and like they're the king on the atrocity hill when it's every country ever, dude. I hate when we just harp on the bad of society without looking at the good of it as well, and that is such a problem in modern culture. We're supposed to feel bad for fucking everything, and I'm not gonna feel bad for it, dude. I'm not gonna sit here and cry, because what the fuck does it do? What does it do? I'm gonna look at the beauty that came out of the atrocities. I'm gonna look at stuff like this and it'll be like, hell yeah, he got his revenge story. Fuck yeah, dude. Like, fuck those guys. Like, put a corruption angle on it, dude. Like, these guys fucking suck. Like, it's like, sometimes, like, there was a lot that bad happened in that time period, and a lot of them got theirs too, and then there was also some done by the other side as well. I mean, that's why it was a fucking war. But, like, we're gonna paint it like, yes, there were cases 100%, like the Trail of Tears and some other cases where it wasn't a war, it was just like shooting an entire encampment. Those are fucking disgusting, absolutely, dude. But to pretend that there wasn't also tribes that were doing the same thing is in a sense being dishonest to the past as well. And I think that shows like oh, we're only gonna look at this one group as the bad guys, always, dude. Always, because they won. But like, if the other side would have won and like like you're telling me if they would have taken down America, if at the time back in the West, one of the tribes would have absolutely like slam-blammed our entire ecosystem and taken over the U.S., you don't think they would have done the same thing? I mean, you can look at what's happening in like South Africa and like some of the areas of Africa that used to have a bigger white population, and once they got they got their ass kicked, now they're the ones dealing with racial persecution. It happens irregardless, like not irregardless. It's just like it's a shitty part of history that we just need to like say, yeah, it sucks, but we got to move past it. We got to keep trucking forward. We can look back and we can have cool stories like this, but I don't know, the virtue signaling shit gets annoying to me. And like, it's just funny too, because I see people talk about like the anime sphere where they're like, I hate when Marvel stuff is like goes to Japan and it's like stealing their culture, but like they can do it here too. So it's like, oh, your perspective is so like fucking dope, because I don't know. This still looks cool. I still want to read Red, but I think more my problem is just the harping on the atrocities that happened gets really fucking annoying for me in this video. It really does. And I think it maybe is my love for Westerns. It's also conflated with the annoying of the virtue signaling in our society today, and how we have to perpetually feel bad for the atrocities of the past when I don't think we should, and shit like that. Like come the fuck on, dude. Come on. Anyways, that's all I got for that one, guys. Like and subscribe. This video is probably not going to get into... a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I don't really care, but whatever. I'll catch you on the next one. Alright, Gangsta had everything then vanished. This is from Jose Poo. Josepu. I don't know how to say this guy's channel name. This is called Gangsta Had Everything Then Vanished. We're gonna get into this. This is the first video that I've ever watched by this guy. So yeah, will he get the like from King Jiffy Codes, or will he get never watched on the channel again? We will find out today. Let's get right into it.
An anime aired that felt in 2015 an anime aired that felt different. It wasn't about high schoolers or magical powers. It was raw, violent, and deeply human. A story about broken people surviving in a broken world. And it was called Gangsta.
Dude, why haven't I seen this? This should be on my recommended on Crunchyroll. What are you doing, Crunchyroll? I mean, I do watch a lot of slop as well. I mean, I kind of like balance it out between cool stuff and slop constantly because I've just kind of given up on regular media for some reason. I get too annoyed. I keep getting more and more jaded by modern writing and crap, that it's instead of sitting here and like complaining about it 24/7 like losers like the Quartering and a lot of these other goonbags do, I just find a new media to jump into. And when anime starts annoying me in that regard, I will figure something else out. It's just like I'm gonna consistently keep moving. The thing right now that works for me with anime and what's so cool is because there's endless catalog of stuff that I've never touched before. And with movies and stuff, I've seen so many and I've gone down so many rabbit holes that I'm just kind of like caught up, you know. I spent like all of my high school and college watching old movies, and now that I've like gotten closer to the modern era, I started to notice like after about 2015 or 2014 to 2015, it's just started going. Obviously after 2016, but I started noticing a sharp decline in writing quality, and it just got so insufferable that I just can't do it anymore.
For a brief moment, Gangsta stood out as a rare, adult-oriented anime, with rich world-building, grounded characters, and themes of trauma, subjugation, addiction, and survival. But just as quickly as it arrived, it was gone. Fallen to the wayside, with the rest of the failed anime on the seasonal shelf. But that wasn't fair. Gangsta was special. 10 years ago, Gangsta aired in 2015, from July 2nd to September 24th. It was produced by Manglobe, a studio known for other stylistic and unconventional titles like
Dude, Samurai Champloo is so good. I haven't finished it, but it's so freaking good what I've seen of it. It's just so stylized that I can't keep my eyes off of it, dude. I'm just bricked up the whole time.
Samurai Champloo, or Ego Proxy. It debuted with it.
That one I've been trying to get into too, but I keep falling asleep. The Ergo Proxy or whatever.
Its mature tone, stylistic violence, and unique setting. However, its sales didn't reflect that. The DVD and Blu-ray sales averaging fewer than 2,000 copies per volume, which is below even the breaking point for most anime productions. It did perform very well on streaming platforms like Funimation and Crunchyroll, gaining a cult following, especially outside of Japan, the very way I came across it. However, a year went by and no word on a second season. This was a surprise, considering the cliffhanger ending it left on. Then the next year, and the next, until 10 entire years go by. It took a decade for me to want to look for an answer. The manga it's based on is still ongoing, but has been on and off hiatus since 2015 due to Koishi's chronic illness. Despite the slow pace, she has expressed continued interest in finishing the story. The manga goes far beyond the anime's plot and delves deeper into politics of Ergastulum, the history of Twilights, and the characters' pasts. Among the fan base, it's considered the definitive way to enjoy.
Well, and it seems like they haven't canceled.
And the mysterious group of people that have so many different names, butterflies, tags, but mainly we call them Twilights. It was a show that was able to blend substance and captivating fights without needing all the flash we see from modern anime. The setting was captivating, thanks mainly due to the inclusion of Twilight, humans who have enhanced physical abilities, thanks mainly to the generations of exposure to the drug Celebrar. They wear dog tags, which physically display their rank and combat ability. Despite this, they're often viewed as dangerous, subhuman, a stigma that is best displayed by our four main families who run the city. The Monroe family, led by Monroe Dawn. They maintain power through strength and discipline, heavily involved in using Twilights as controlled assets. Although they make use of Twilights, Loretta Cristiano, head of the Cristiano family, is actually sympathetic to Twilights. Loretta inherited leadership at a young age and aims to protect Twilights as civilians from abuse. They work closely
So she's based. She's cool.
with the next family, the Pakili Guild. They act as neutral overseers and enforcers of the 3 laws that govern Twilights.
Bro, she got them saggy boobies, bro. She got them sags.
For maintaining the status quo to prevent chaos, essentially trying to balance the system rather than profit from it. Then the final family, the Corsica family. They're the most ruthless and power-hungry of all 4 families. The Corsica family want to dominate Ergastelum by eliminating rival families and taking out the Twilights that live there. Which is even worse when you know the Twilights that live there are forced to live in Ergastelum. Twilights are not allowed to live freely outside of Ergastelum. They are either hunted, experimented on, or used as weapons if they try to leave. This is easily controlled because of their dependency on Celebraer to survive. It stabilizes their condition and prevents mental and physical breakdown. The supply is controlled by the 4 families and the city's black market, meaning Twilights are literally dependent on Ergastelum, the 4 families.
Bro, this is an incredible idea, dude. This is such an interesting concept. It really makes me think of like worlds like Dread, but this is like the build up to what a world like Dread would be. So it's like that precursor of what we will eventually become, and I think that's really cool.
And Celebraer to survive. However, as I mentioned, they did create the 3 laws to ensure Twilights do not take control of Ergastelum and create havoc in the city. And if you know the 3 laws of robotics, they're going to sound familiar. Firstly, a Twilight must never harm an ordinary civilian. A Twilight must obey orders given by an authorized human, essentially their slave master. A Twilight may protect their own existence as long as it does not conflict with the original 2 laws. They are not protected, but control. The laws do not exist to safeguard Twilights, they exist to keep them in check. Twilights are treated like property or weapons, stripped of autonomy and expected to obey.
Mad unfortunate, dude. Mad unfortunate. I do not like that society setup, bro. We should treat everyone equally, dude. Everybody should be everybody should be like treated like dope, dude. We shouldn't be mean to people. Like, oh no, you got the schmiggle-biggle disease, bro. So now we're gonna put you in like a weird little camp. Nah. I don't like that type of fascism shit.
Or be erased. Nowhere is this more evident in our main 2 leads. Nicholas Brown, a rank A0 Twilight. Nick stands near the top of the combat hierarchy, his dog tags marking him as one of the most dangerous beings in the city. Twilight's ranks range from low D levels to elite A0s like Nick, with rank determining both combat ability and how strictly they're monitored. But rank doesn't mean freedom, it means scrutiny, expectations, and a target on his back. Nick is also deaf and addicted to the very drug that gives him power, and constantly towing the line between asset and threat. However, he doesn't get into too much trouble because there's someone watching his back. Orc is a former noble turned mercenary who's as quick with a pistol as he is with his smirk. He has a superhuman ability all his own, but it's not Twilight based. It's a natural gift. He has something I like to call superior eidetic memory, which allows him to remember everything he sees, hears, smells, tastes, down to the finest detail.
Well, that's dope. What a convenient way to win every trivia game you ever want to play, dude.
Together, they form the Bentria, which translates to hardware store. So, in English translation, really, they're the handyman. This duo takes on dirty work no one else is willing to do, given to them by police or some of the 4 families. But their bond runs deeper than business. It's tied.
Dude, their blood bond runs deeper than water because it's blood and it's thick and goopy. They have like good man on man sexy time.
To violence, a shared bloody past that left both men scarred and inseparable in more than one way. Their story is like Ergastelum itself. It's one of survival in a system designed to chew them up and spit them out. One of the things I truly admire about Gangsta is how becoming a Twilight isn't treated like some typical power-up, because you're born with it, and because it's non-consensual. It comes with a heavy cost. Twilights don't just gain enhanced abilities, their lifespan is drastically shortened, with many not living past.
Dude, mad unfortunate. I honestly, if it was like I had to be like addicted to some like sort of super drug that made me like really cool and powerful, but also meant that I was gonna be like dead in a few years, I probably wouldn't stay on it. And then it's like, well, you'll die without it. It'd be like, well, I mean, I'm gonna either die in a few years or die tomorrow because I don't have it. I don't want to be like dependent on this shit. I don't want to be like fucking slapping people's penis every 2 seconds just for my next hit. That sounds awful.
Past the age of 30 due to the immense physical strain their bodies endure. On top of that, Twilights often suffer from debilitating physical conditions, either caused by the drug Celeber or passing down through generations of exposure. Take Nicholas, for example. He is one of the most powerful Twilights that we see in the show, ranked A0, although it is said that it isn't his real rank. He's managed to claim that tag for himself, but he's also deaf. He can speak in short bursts, but his lack of hearing makes communication and combat uniquely challenging, and yet the story doesn't treat his deafness as a gimmick. It's an integral part of how he interacts.
Which is nice. Which is really nice, dude. I really like a piece of media that's able to relay a disability without it being like an annoying part of the story, right? It's like, well, we gotta like show how we put this in. No. It's so important that it becomes an entire story and focal point. It's like, nah, it's just a part of this guy. It's just he's living with it. Everybody around knows about it, but it's just like a part of who he is. So it's not like people are acting different or like lecturing you on the importance of deafness and like acknowledging them. It's really nice when a story's just like, yeah, this is just the shit that is, and we don't need to fucking talk about it because it exists and you can see it, we can see it, let's move the fuck on. I really like when a story's able to do that.
The world. It shapes his perspective, his relationships, even the pacing of certain scenes. It's rare to see a deaf protagonist in a battle-heavy anime, and even rarer to see it handled with this level of nuance and respect. While other anime...
Well, it's not even an anime, dude. I'm fucking being 100% real. You know how often I'm so sick of watching a show where it's like, I have a disability. I'm going to give you the entire history of this disability and why I suffer from so much persecution. Do you want to hear about my persecution? Oh, let me just self-flagellate for a bit. Oh, yeah, now do you get it? Oh, God, it's so fucking insufferable, dude. It's such a little, like cum-gobbling way to write, and it's so annoying when it's like, dude, you can just write the character as dope as fuck. Just write the character like you would write them if they didn't have the disability, but just have that be a part of them. It'll be fucking dope. Well, you'll be like, oh, dude, yeah, no, it's that guy was deaf or whatever, but it was so cool that like he was like, they'll talk about how cool it is that he's deaf. That's like a part of how cool he is now, and that's cooler to me than you fucking explaining why it's cool. Just show me he's fucking cool.
Like A Silent Voice, explore deafness beautifully in a dramatic context. Gangsta weaves it seamlessly into a grittier narrative, and that's something I've never seen done in an anime, let alone done this well.
I don't want you getting the wrong idea, all right? To take, one must first give. If you don't let me and Warwick have what we want for once, I worry the next head I separate from my body might be yours.
The woman in question is called Alex, and she's a former prostitute who becomes their secretary. The secretary for the handyman. She's introduced as a side character in the beginning, but Alex quickly becomes central to the story. Not because she's a strong fighter, because, well, she isn't, but because she brings empathy and stability to a world soaked in...
Also, they needed a hot character, because let's be honest, it's anime, so they needed some fucking fan service, so they threw her in there. I'm just kidding. That was like super misogynistic or whatever. I don't really give a shit, but like... Like, that's like what all anime does is like, wow, we got too many dicks. We need some clits. So let's bring in a chick with big boobs.
Violence and trauma, which her background speaks to. After being freed from her abusive pimp by Warwick and Nico, Alex joins them, slowly rebuilding her sense of self. She's haunted by lost memories because of the drugs her pimp was making her take, constantly suffering from hallucinations and the emotional scars of exploits.
I do like when they put in like an attractive character, right? Like they do in all anime, and it's not just to have an attractive character though. It is nice that they actually build on top of it and make like a decently well-rounded like character with decent perspectives. I do hate when any show's just like, yeah, check out this fucking bimbo we added. Doesn't she have nice fucking tits and ass? Well, isn't that great? It's like, yeah, but what else is cool about her? Nothing. She's just there. She's there so her towel can slip sometimes and she can go, eh. It's like, all right, we got the fucking cum goblins who still live in their parents' basement to come. So, well, let's go back to the main story. It's like, dude, give them a little bit more.
Through her eyes were explained and witnessed the true brutality of her Gastelum, but also the humanity that lies within. Alex isn't just there for emotional support, she shows true strength of her own, defending those she cares about, trying to reclaim her life, and refusing to be the victim to anyone. She's one of the few characters who treats Twilights like people, not as weapons. Especially Nico, as although she's...
Let's go, dude. She's dope. She's dope as fuck. That's what a win. What a win. We finally have somebody dope as fuck.
Lived in her Gastelum for years, she doesn't even know what Twilights are. And that connection gives her a quiet yet powerful presence in the show. She acts as our narrative vehicle. Another standout element in Gangsta is that it leans into moral complexity. Look, there's no true hero or villain here. It's just people trying to survive in a broken system. Whether it's the Mafia families enforcing order, the Twilights being exploited as a tool, or the Benraya doing dirty work to keep the peace. Everyone is morally compromised. It's a world of blurred lines. There's loyalty, there's survival, but most important, there's personal justice. That type of grounded storytelling was a breath of fresh air in a genre of...
Well, and this is why so many people are like drawn to Monster too, because of like Monster's ability to make everything feel so much more grounded. And that's like a problem with a lot of anime, is it's just so over the top that when you get into it, you're just like, yeah, no, this is just fucking cartoony and wild and it's cool, but it's not really grounded. And I think that's what, like, at least for me, when I watch Berserk, even though it's a dark fantasy, it just has so many hugely impactful grounded moments that I wasn't ready for. I really wasn't. So when I got to like the disbanding of the Hawk, or like the death of the Hawk or whatever it's called, and I saw him become the demon and do what he did to Akaska, and it was just all these moments where it hits so much harder because of how much more grounded grounded in just like dark gritty reality feeling that Berserk was, that hits so much harder, and it became just this like profound piece of media for me. And I feel like Monster had the same effect for a lot of people. Now, I haven't watched Monster myself. I know I've covered it a lot on this channel. Eventually I will watch the movie, but it's stuff like this that I think sets itself apart, and it kind of sucks that this doesn't end up getting garnering a bigger appeal.
Often defined by clear-cut good versus evil narratives. Gangsta was created by Koshide, a Japanese mangaka known for her sharp style and gritty noir storytelling. But just like her characters, she faced incredible challenges. She revealed she was battling a chronic autoimmune disease known as SLE. This debilitating condition caused her joint pain, fatigue, and serious long-term...
Damn, bro. Mad unfortunate. Mad fucking unfortunate. That's probably why she hasn't made any new chapters since like 2018. This fucking sucks, dude. What a fucking unfortunate D20 roll.
Health issues, a story all too common with mangaka. Due to the worsening symptoms, the manga went on frequently extended hiatuses. At times, she was unable to draw for months or even years. Her illness drastically impacted the series' momentum. While she remained passionate about her story, she simply couldn't produce the chapters at a consistent pace. Gangsta fans had to wait and wait and wait. The manga would eventually return in spurts, with assistance from other artists, but even now it remains unfinished. Despite everything, she continues to engage with her fans when possible, showing love for the world she created. Her situation adds a bittersweet layer to Gangsta, a series that explores pain, survival, and resilience, not just on page, but behind the scenes as well. She remains as a respected figure, at least in my eyes, but I'd like to think in the greater manga community. But her health challenges have made Gangsta a slow, burning legacy, rather than a glorious, completed saga. However,
Yeah, no, that kind of sucks, dude. That kind of sucks that she was put in such a like a terrible situation. So I want to get this out of the way. I recently watched a video on Red, right? Manga about like Native Americans, and I think this is handled how to approach a lot of these serious issues and stuff so much better than his video on Red, which kind of sucks because like as much as I respect the Masked Man and really like what he does, he's the one who recommended that video to me in one of his videos, and I didn't like it was fine, it was an okay video, but it harped a lot, it fucking complained a lot. And so when I see this and I see the way that he's broken it down and he's like putting the importance of the character dynamics, every time I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about how this does this so perfectly, and I'm just so immersed in wanting to know more about the story. I want to know more about the artist and the background and what's going on. But in the opposite end of the spectrum, we had fucking let's talk about 1880s politics and feel bad because of America or whatever. Like, this is just a way better look and a way better breakdown of like the entire kind of like catalog of story of what's going on with this anime, the production of it, why it doesn't exist anymore, the author. I feel like there's so many different directions it's going in, and it's just keeping me engaged because it's not harping on only one aspect over and over and over again.
that really shouldn't have affected.
I feel like if the guy who made the Red video would have made this, he would have still be telling me about the cultural imbalance of deaf people in society.
The anime. The anime still had lots of material to work with. The issue with the anime was the production. The production studio behind Gangsta, Man Global, officially declared bankruptcy on September 29th, just a few weeks after Gangsta had finished airing. The studio had accumulated over 35 million yen in debt, about 3 million.
Fuck, man. Damn, that's unfortunate, dude. Like, I feel like this shit could have been cut off right away, saying that it was never getting a second season because the whole thing was fucking bankrupt.
USD. And the financial collapse was sudden and severe. This effectively killed any hope of a second season, regardless of fan demand. Manglobe was known for producing stylish, mature anime with cult followings, but not necessarily big commercial hits. Alongside Gangsta, several other projects were shortcut and left unfinished, including Dead.
Dude, no, Dead Man was a part of them? I just watched that recently. It's so fucking good. I'm never gonna get a second season of Dead Man? Are you fucking kidding me?
Man's Wonderland. Plan on making a video on sometime, because it is divine. It's
Dude, what the fuck? I didn't know. I just like, so I watch an anime and then I like shut my mind off and I like move on, right? I move on and I wait till my watch later tells me that it started adding more episodes. I didn't realize that Dead Man Wonderland was done, dude. This is tragic. This is fucking tragic, dude. I might never be happy again. What the fuck?
For its unique prison system that many other shows took inspiration from. It still ended without adapting the full manga. Another well-known anime is Samurai Champloo. Samurai Champloo's reputation speaks for itself. However, when it initially aired, it didn't translate to high profits. Managlobe consistently, genuinely pushed boundaries, but their high-risk choices often didn't pay off financially. Without the support of big licensors or hit-level merchandise, the studio couldn't recover, and when it went under, the rights to the show, like Gangsta, became tangled up in red tape, making it harder for other companies.
Dude, wait, like, is Dead Man Wonderland coming back? Come on, dude. Come on. Will it happen? Will it happen? Come on, dude. Come on. Come here. Let's pull this up, dude. I was really liking this. As of right now, Dead Man has not been received an official announcement. However, according to sources, it might debut in 2023 or 2024. Did they get a season? They didn't get a season 2. That didn't happen. Well, that's unfortunate. So I don't know, dude. This sucks, dude. That sucks. Maybe we won't get it. I mean, the fact Wino season 2, I know that place is shut down, but this one seems to have a lot more chances. Oh no, it is canceled. Well, that fucking sucks. This sucks, dude. What a bummer. This video became an absolute bummer. I thought this was gonna be cool. Like, this is just depressing at this point.
Is to even try to pick them up. This is terrible. Despite its gripping world, mature storytelling, and standout characters, Gangsta was ultimately a victim of circumstances beyond its narrative. While it premiered to solid hype in the summer of 2015 and had a strong opening episode, the series quickly began to suffer from production issues, visible in stiff animation and reused shots and off-model character art later in the season. But these weren't just artistic choices, they were a symptom of this deeper problem. Maniglove was already in financial...
Dude, and yet Naruto got all of its fucking seasons and that shit's trash. Naruto is garbage. 7 Deadly Sins got finished and that shit was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Fuck this, dude. This is depressing, dog.
trouble by the time the anime aired. Mounting debts, scheduling issues...
Brother, I can't get over the fact that fucking Naruto got finished and it's dog shit and they're doing Boruto, which is dog shit. And yet I don't get all this cool... I don't get Dead Man Wonderland Season 2. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Issues causing the studio to collapse in just weeks after Gangsta ended its run, crushing any hope of a second season to follow, and just radio silence in return. Even though Gangsta had a strong potential, the poor production quality, especially in its second half, hurt fans' reputations. And it didn't generate the DVD or merch sales that it needed to offset the studio losses. Combine that with the anime's slower pacing and unfinished story, and it was left in a precarious spot. Too expensive.
Dude, we're gonna look at all their shit right now. I know, this is like a really good video. We're gonna look through their shit right now, dude. Let's see. Okay, that's garbage. I don't know what that is. Like Aerial Proxy, I haven't finished that yet. I finished this recently. It was incredible, dude. Don't know that one. Oh god, dude, that looks like, dude, that's hard drive checking material if you watch that. Unlimited, I haven't watched this. This looks kind of tight though. Carnival, haven't seen that. Okay. And then Gangster. Okay, so luckily nothing else is on the list that would have me like absolutely heartbroken that it didn't finish, bro. Like nothing is like gonna like absolutely punch my dick back into my body and turn it into a vagina. So that's good, I guess, dude. It's still unfortunate that this is the situation we're in, but at least it's only a couple that I find, because like I've only seen like 3 of their anime, or no, I've only I've only seen 3. So 2 of them I haven't finished, but Samurai Champloo I haven't finished, Ego Proxy I haven't finished, and then Ergo Proxy, and then the last one is Dead Man Wonderland, which I have finished.
To continue, yet too messy for other studios to jump in right away. It's a case of everything going wrong at once, and the show, like many Twilights within its story, are left discarded, not for a lack of strength or a lack of character, but because the system itself failed it.
Dude, could you imagine if like Mappa or like one of these other, like, what is that one that Mappa does, dude? There's one that I fucking hate this show, dude. It's I love Mappa too. I think they make some really good shows, but they have one. Let's go here, dude. They have one that's just dog shit that recently came out. This one, dude. This shit is fucking awful. This shit is so bad, dude. This shit is like one of the worst shows I've ever seen in my life. The first episode made me laugh, right? The first episode made me laugh, so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then after that, dude, I can't. This shit's garbage. This main character sucks way too bad. Like, here's the thing. ReZero, right? ReZero has a main character that's pretty insufferable for a while. but I felt like he kept having these moments of redeeming qualities. This motherfucker has zero redeeming qualities. This is a dog shit show. But we're making this instead of Gangster. We're making this instead of Dead Man Wonderland. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Burn this shit. Shut it down. Nobody needs another season of this. I'm sorry if you're a fan of that. No, I'm not sorry if you're a fan of that. Fuck you. You're dumb if you like this. It's garbage, dude. This guy should have been the main character. He's actually interesting. He's actually relatable. This guy's a fucking loser. He sucks. He's uninteresting. He's a garbage main character. We have that, but I'm not getting another season of Dead Man Wonderland. This is me crashing out, boys. Everybody's always like trying to wait for a King Jiffy crash out. This is a fucking King Jiffy crash out, baby. We got fucking Bokagiri still probably getting another season. But we're not getting another season of Dead Man Wonderland. Get out of here, my dude. Get out of here. Bokagiri needs to never run again. Never run again. It's garbage. Like, Mappa could have done this shit and got instant eyes on it. Instant eyes on it. But these guys do it and it gets just fucking, like, shit on with diarrhea cheeks. This was an incredible video. This was so good. This guy gets a like and a subscribe, bro. Way better than the red video. Way better than the red video. Yeah, like, even though I crashed out on this one, like, I didn't feel like I crashed out on the red one. The red one I got annoyed on. I definitely got annoyed and I got a little heated because I'm just so sick of white guilt in the world. Like, it's just so gay. It's so gay and cringe, and I just feel like we harp on it too much, and I felt like the video was kind of a vehicle of that. Now, it wasn't 100% jaded in that way, but it was a vehicle of it. This was just an incredible breakdown of everything about it, and I think that and obviously they're different creators, they have different styles, they have different viewpoints, and that's kind of the wonderful thing about YouTube is you're gonna have so many styles, so many viewpoints, and so many different people trying to make shit. But this guy is so good. He's so fucking good at what he does. That is an incredible video. I love this guy's video. So, like, dude, it's like, I don't know, dude. I just I'm gonna be watching more of this guy's shit on the channel. I think he's incredible. I'm brokenhearted because I don't get more. I don't get more great love of I don't get more like great anime like the fucking Dead Man Wonderland. It does suck, but at least I found a cool channel to to like have fun with. Oh, here's a good one, dude. I'm gonna put this in save watch later. Good writing isn't everything. Solo leveling proves it. Like, I solo leveling is fucking awesome, dude. We're gonna see how much I disagree. But well, actually, this one's even more. I'm gonna add this to watch later. Yeah, this guy, make sure to go to subscribe to this guy, dude. He's fucking awesome. I'm a huge fan of this guy already, dude. He's a smash hit. He's going to be a fucking massive hit. Me and him are on like the same level of like power scaling on YouTube. I've already seen like the Izuke one, and it's not just because she has a nice ass, bro. This, I think it's, this actually would be a good one to watch eventually, would be Anime's Most Creative Isekai. I really do like that show as well. That's one I've watched. But here we go. There we go, guys. I think I've added in some good ones of him. I think this was an incredible video. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. And make sure to like and subscribe. And we'll catch you on the next one. All right, boys and girls. Give me a second to adjust my ball sack. It's like shoving itself into my body. I crashed out way too hard on that last video. I went absolutely way too hard into giggity schmoodle mode. I know you guys all saw it. It was big sad. It hurt everybody's feelings. I went too hard. The last two have kind of put me in a squiggly wiggly mood. But I wanna go into this next one with a clear mind. I wanna go in with a clear mind, a clear head. Maybe I'll just beat it on camera like DSP. I don't know. I don't freaking know, my dude. I don't freaking know. Anyways, I want to go into this next one. I'm gonna go crazy. We're bringing in The Masked Man. We're gonna round it out with my favorite anime creator. I think the guy's just goated. I really do. I think he's one of the best creators on the platform. I want to read his. I need to read his both his part 0 and his part 1 of his manga and give my actual thoughts on it. And I think that would be a fun video to make. But let's get nuts and butts and clits and cluts all going crazy. This video is called the manga protagonist is, or this manga protagonist is worse than vile. Worse than vile. And we've seen some vile anime protagonists on this channel. We've seen some vile antagonists. We've seen a lot of crazy stuff. And of course, this is by my boy, The Masked Man, one of my favorite creators on the platform. And I just want to jump right into this one. I want to just cut the fluff and go right in.
The ideal family, a loving mother and father, a kind-hearted sister and a son who is the perfect student, destined to join the elite of Japanese society with his...
And we have the cousin, the stupid-ass gooner. What a loser.
...intelligence. That was, until he violently killed both of his parents in front of his sister, shocking the world and setting the boy down a path he will never return from.
Bro, he's like that Halo killer, bro. There was a guy who literally killed his parents over Halo. His dad took his copy of, like, Halo 3, so he Mikowski'd them like an absolute goon bag.
A bad omen that is best avoided at all costs because of the ruin he brings to everything he touches. We all have martial arts and fighting series that we love dearly. Ippo, Holy Land, Baki. You know the list goes on.
Ippo is way better than Baki. Baki, the old Baki was really good too, and like the new Baki's fine. They're all pretty good, but they're just kind of like brainless, right? But like Ippo, it like brings the love of the fight to such a new level, like such a new level. It's so like it's one of those things like Aoishi like made me have like a true understanding and love of soccer. Like Blue Lock kind of like got me to dip my toe in, and then Blue Lock season 2 was like watching AIDS being spread across toast. But then I watched Aoishi, which is just the best soccer anime. I'm sorry, well at least the ones that I've seen 2, but out of the 2, Aoishi's so much better, and it's like perfect in a lot of ways. But when I look at like the comparison between like Baki, if you were like gonna compare Baki and Ippo is just so much better. It gives you a true love and understanding of boxing.
Stories that provide us with main characters that are relatively easy to root for, especially when faced with the ultimate.
An even better one, and a better example to like stand up against Ippo, and I don't think it would be a fair stand up, but it would be kind of cool. Ippo's more like a biopic about a great boxer, right? It's more like the George Foreman movie, right? But then there's Megaloboxing. Megaloboxing is straight up a Rocky film. So it has 2 different styles of boxing movie, and both of those can live simultaneously next to each other without being compared. I really truly think that you get a different and great understanding from both of them without like using one to trash the other.
Challenge. The David versus Goliath moments in those stories play on our desire to root for the underdog, coupled with personalities easy to admire or resonate with, and you get a formula for stories capable of motivating and inspiring with the fighting spirit. But what if we were to flip the David versus Goliath script, still keeping the underdog aspect but completely reversing the morality of the 2 roles, making Goliath a proud warrior and a role model, and David we make the most detestable human to ever exist on the face of the planet.
So it's basically Bakaguri. It's basically that crap-ass show Bakaguri, where the character that's like the side character is super cool and awesome and really relatable, and the main character is just like a gooning loser who should definitely have his hard drive checked.
Is what we get for a portion of a manga called Shamo, martial arts manga that, due to its dark premise and even darker main character, Ryo Narushima, is like a stain that stands out amongst anything else in its genre. Written by Izo Hashimoto and drawn by Aiko Tanaka, the manga has 2 parts, but altogether is 334 chapters, providing a series that is a bit of a headache given that it feels like 2 people were working on this and they couldn't come to an agreement, sometimes striking gold, and other times dropping the ball for seemingly no reason. But it also provides an uncomfortably interesting main character that explores someone who is searching for themselves in places you shouldn't be looking, and who can easily be seen as the most vile protagonist.
I do love when they make the protagonist the villain. I really do. I think it's just such a like Taxi Driver is a great example. Obviously, the first or the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, even though it's a bad Joker movie, it's still a good antagonist. Is the protagonist film. I'm trying to think. There was other ones. King of Comedy. Oh God, there's more. There's way more. There's way more than that. But I do love where you have just a like an absolutely disgusting human being as the main character, and for some reason you keep rooting for him. That's the basis behind Danny McBride's comedy. Is he wanted to make absolutely deplorable people that you rooted for, and make it funny at the same time.
All of manga. You ever wish you could just make your own anime character and then actually talk to them? I don't know if any of you do.
That was the saddest thing I've ever heard. I know this is going into a fucking ad, but if you are a person that doesn't have enough friends that you want to make your own anime character and have conversations with them, bro, do a little better. Now, if you really want one, I'm sure you can go to Maskman's channel and get his little link or whatever and do that. But, like, go outside, make some friends, dog. Come on, like, watch anime, but also, like, go golfing, find somebody who needs somebody else in their party, like, join up, make some casual conversation, talk about anything other than anime, though. Come on, dude.
The story begins with Rio going to prison for what is revealed to be parricide. Although he only spends 2 years in prison for this insane crime, those 2 years would prove pivotal in the development of a demon in the body of a man. Just 2 chapters into the manga, he is sexually abused and driven into a corner.
Oh, damn, bro. Dude, he was the prison pass-around boy. That is wildly unfortunate.
Behavior that clearly marks him, as we see once he's out of this hellhole. He also suffers through multiple attempted murders, beatings, severe bullying, and pretty much torture via isolation in the dark, but is able to survive, because while in prison, he learns martial arts from Kurokawa, a man that attempted to murder the Prime Minister of Japan.
Dear God, what's with people trying to kill the Prime Minister all the time, dude? Like, Japan, leave your prime ministers alone for a bit, my dude. Like, come on, dude. We gotta, like, stop trying to kill them.
This is one of the positive qualities of Rio that makes part of his character all the more tragic. His ability to learn due to his incredible intelligence and dedication to his craft makes me believe that he would have been successful in any field he pursued. However, the circumstances in which he learned martial arts comes from a place of survival. While others in the normal world might learn it for sport, to Rio this is a way to avoid death. Combat sports also brings out the true nature in people. There's no place to hide when everything is on the line.
By the way, this is a great clip or whatever, but there's that clip from the Japanese guy and, oh God, I can't remember his name, Mustache Dude. Oh God, it'll come to me. If you know it, put it in chat. Make sure to subscribe while you're down there. Oh, he's my favorite UFC fighter, but they were just beating the living crap out of each other, dude. They were just like walloping each other's face. Don Fry, and that other guy, dude. And they were just beating the living shit out of each other's faces. It's the greatest clip from fighting history.
On top of showing the flaws with reformation centers, in this very early part of the story, one might have some sympathy for Rio, since one might be expecting a justification, possibly a plea of self-defense when it comes to the murder of his parents, the revelation that they were extremely abusive.
All right, I got it right here, bro. I got it right here. Oh, full fight. We're not gonna watch the full fight.
There's DIY.
We're not gonna watch the full fight, but it was it was Don Fry versus Yoisho Takamari, dude, and this shit was wild. Let's get to where they start beating the shit. Oh yeah, right here. It starts out right away, dude. They just like come out nuts and butts, and dude's wearing American flag shorts like a badass, like super, like I don't know, dude. You wearing American flag shit? You got my vote. I'm on your side, my dude.
Bombs that we expect in Pride Fighting Championship Demolition, and there's that right hand. They're duking it out now.
Ooh! Oh, dude! Oh, shit, dude! Dude, just mashing, bro. He's just fucking mashing his fucking head in, dude. Look at him just go. These are champions. These are fucking champions, dude. Holy shit, dude. Dude, yo, he's just trying to hit him with those knees, and Don's like, nah, fucking, I'm bringing the heat, bro. Bro, they're already gassed. They're already fucking gassed. Oh, dude. Oh, dude, they're back at it, bro. They're fucking. Oh, Darkrai just lost his fucking his mouth guard, bro. Holy shit, dude. Oh, dude, greatest fucking thing in all of history, bro. All of history, dude. They just fucking no chill, bro. No chill. That is the best clip of fighting history. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says, dude. That shit fucking slaps so hard. Oh my god, I'm so hyped right now. I know I did a lot of yelling there, but dear god, was that fucking sick.
And we're about to kill Rio for real. A big, unfortunate, nuanced misunderstanding that brought him to jail. A character that is turned into a monster instead of a person being born as one. Right? No, not really. The series doesn't show anything when it comes to this, outside of bits and pieces, only hinting that Rio did feel trapped by overbearing and overprotective parents, but more so as an indication of his dark, perverse mind existing since he was young. Not a bad household. So self-defense is not at all what happened. He is described often as someone who has never known love and is truly alone, even though his sister was there before he killed their parents, whatever. Even if you wanted to say the parents drove him to insanity, which is how Rio feels, he could have just ran away. Because if you were desperate enough to kill 2 people, you were surely desperate enough to run away. I think this early part of the story shows how prisons aren't really adequate for reforming a disturbed youth, and in this case only aggravated an individual who by all signs is shown to be sick to the core. So one can only feel somewhat sympathetic in retrospect when it comes to what he dealt with in prison, but all of his actions as soon as he leaves jail make him detestable to a degree that words fail to capture. Sadly, after my Griffith video, I am very familiar with individuals who perform the most absurd level of—
By the way, I made a video where I made a video where I saw somebody had made like a comparison between Griffith and iDubbbz, right? And I thought it was an interesting dynamic, so I decided to go in it. Why, like, people were saying that it was like, iDubbbz sucks and Griffith is based. I'm like, what? He's a rapist, bro. What the fuck are we talking about here, my dude? My bro. Let's be honest real quick. Let's be honest really quick and just acknowledge the fact that iDubbbz sucks really bad, but he's not a rapist. So why are there so many people that think Griffith is the coolest fucking guy on the planet? Like, I want Griffith like to be buried under the entire earth. I want to see Guts obliterate his ass so bad because he sucks so bad. I want him just done. He's outskied. He's cooked. I want Guts to like chop him into little fucking pieces because Casca did not deserve that. It was just such a heartbreaking moment, and I don't know how anybody could see that and be like, huh, Griffith? Best.
Of mental gymnastics to justify characters like this, as if justifying them morally makes them better characters. It's okay if they're evil with certain human aspects one can see are present. Trying to interpret Rio purely as a victim doesn't work. In fact, he will spend the rest of the series going into absurd lengths never to be victimized. He isn't helped at all by most people that surround him who only wish to gain things through Rio's ability, caring little to steer him into a good path, but the series falls apart if you try to absolve him. Shamo, as it pertains to Rio, works when you don't just see it as black and white. Every 5 chapters for the first half of this manga, I felt like JR talking about Triple H, since by the time he leaves jail, he has murder on his hands already, but it's once he returns to normal civilization that it becomes clear that multiple life sentences were needed. Because if—
By the way, Masked Man just kind of brought up a wrestling thing, and I'm like the worst when it comes to like wrestling stuff. I don't know shit about it. I've watched like a bunch of TikToks and stuff about it, and I've gone down the rabbit hole of like Mick Foley and stuff like that, but I never really watched wrestling, so I'm like in dire need of a Masked Man wrestling channel. I need it so bad, dude. I need these breakdowns on why these character arcs are so interesting and the beauty behind them. I need that shit in my life. So Masked Man, I know you're talking about setting up a second channel. Get that shit done, dude. I will be one of your most vehement supporters.
Telling your parents to preserve your personality leads to this? Oh boy. While Ryo is a character that taps into a very human desire to survive, the power he gains through martial arts only feeds his darker desires, his need for power, his insatiable lust. Committing countless acts of assault relentlessly instigates violence and even goes as far to sexually assault innocent women. Despite that happening to him and witnessing it happen to another woman,
Yep, he should die. He deserves to die. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, dude. These guys suck.
that cared for him. Look, I'm all for evil being portrayed as evil. It's a fine line between being explicit to prove a point in its ugliest form, and then just being edgy, which Shamlo jumps between both of those things. But surely you could have come up with a better name for a chapter. The most sickening case is...
Jesus Christ. No chill, bro. No chill, dog. What the fuck? What the fuck, dude? I'm sorry I'm laughing. It's just like, it caught me off guard. This is like, I did a video where I talked about that, like, the dog manga. I can't say it because it definitely has the N-word in the name. But that shit was like, come on, dude. You know what you're doing.
Okay, how do I paint the picture of what this is? Okay, y'all remember when Kurt Angle was obsessed with Booker T's wife? This is literally that.
Nope, I do not know that reference.
But if Vince McMahon wasn't held back by TV restrictions, Ryo gets into a fight versus Naoto, the star fighter in the country, by tracking down his lover, forcing himself on her, and calling the guy to get inside his head, and so that Naoto would finally accept the fight. It is clear that he is repeating the abuse that was done to him while in prison, and this is a character we are meant to hate. Later on in the series, it is revealed that he got her pregnant, and she had to abort the child. Quote, "You took your parents' lives with your own hands. Cold-hearted beast. You also killed your first son." This is all within 66 chapters of a 330-chapter series. What makes Ryo odd is he does show care for his sister that he has been trying to find, and there are many characters
Oh
in the
my god, dude. This guy's a fucking monster, dude. He needs to be, like, shot and buried.
series that enable him for their own personal gain, adding to the discussion of human depravity, but also showing that Ryo is capable of introspection and self-awareness, making his actions all the more terrifying. Even though the story describes him and he is given every evil nickname under the sun, the ugly truth is Ryo is no devil. He is a human being, and this is what humans can be capable of. It's uncomfortable to imagine that the most evil humans we can think of can be capable of love and guilt, since that makes it harder to box them in and pass judgment. Flipping the script by putting this type of character in the role of protagonist for us to observe closely, and having each of his opponents be the type of heroes we would cheer for. Even before the Naoto fight, Ryo has a history of using dirty, underhanded tactics, and all types of cheating in order to win. A spit in the face to what martial arts represents, using the desire to survive and the original purpose of martial arts in a more primitive era to satiate his unrelenting bloodlust and keep his soul from being killed, even though he doesn't realize the poison that is slowly killing him because of the path that he has chosen. Coupled with the desire to never be weak again.
Dude, I'm fucking jaw-dropped right now. This is, like, insanely, like, depraved on another level. This guy is, like, absolutely at the same point as Ichi the Killer, dude. This is at the same level as Ichi, dude. This is, or maybe even worse. I don't know. I mean, Ichi definitely killed more people, so he's probably the worst example. I would say I definitely will have to die on that hill. He definitely is worse. But this guy is depraved in a lot of ways, and I think he can stand. He's standing close. He's on the summit, like staring at Ichi. They're like within eye contact.
The only way to survive in the world is to be strong. His actions are proven valid in his sick mind, and he can rise above any sort of standard in society as long as he wins. Immersing you into the story by making you feel hatred for a character you can't take your eyes away from. Every person he interacts with suffers because of himself. Whether it's ending the career of an honest fighter who is providing for his family, putting a man in a coma, or failing to grow from any of the experiences he has, instead being a violent echo of the evil he experiences. On an island to train for a fight, he has a woman trapped, and when he isn't covering himself in blood and training in the dark, he is once again forcing himself on another individual. Most of the actions that condemn Ryo are in the first 100 or so chapters of the series. The rest is him unwilling to repent, viewing himself as irredeemable, and watching those around him fall apart as he himself kind of starts the same process over and over again. It would be incorrect to say that he is a mindless character. If anything, his self-awareness is well on display, and even seems sad by putting Naoto in a coma and running away. Yeah, he forced himself on the guy's girl, took steroids for their fight, and then in the rematch, put him in a coma. That part could be argued as accidental, and it was also a fight to the death, but interestingly enough, Ryo did not wish to kill Naoto. The arc after that is a strange one, since it feels disconnected from the rest of the series, happening after the second fight between Ryo and Naoto and before his fight with Toma. But the beginning of this arc does put on display Ryo's desire to survive no matter what, embodying the name of the series itself, Shamo, meaning gamecock, a rooster bred for fighting, and taking part in these fights and becoming a male prostitute as a way to gain money, encountering an old man that trains him in chi and presents the idea to Ryo of living a peaceful life, something that feels like a legitimate possibility, especially when Ryo plays an instrument. And you wonder if after his mistakes and falling from the top of the fighting world, if there will be an attempt to leave the dark.
Fuck no, dude. Dude's going to, like, turn. He's gonna fucking spin right back to his old ways. It's not that type of story, pal. It's not that movie, dog. It's Harrison Ford is here to tell you it's not that type of flick.
And be a better man. Unfortunately, that chance is taken from him. And then it feels like that arc didn't exist afterwards, other than the ghost of this guy appearing. From that point onwards, the series fails to capitalize long-term on some super important ideas it presents outside of Ryo's darkness, only creating moments where you realize what kind of a pathetic existence he lives in, even though he mostly has himself to blame for that. The story feels like a disjointed mess when it comes to its plot and pacing, which ultimately affects the clarity of the messages. Really amazing 10 out of 10 stretches, and then interesting ideas that are poorly executed or don't have lasting impact, making a healthy chunk I spent reading this feel pointless. On one hand, I thought it was remarkable.
This really sucks too, because I've had shows where I've done this, where I was like really entrenched because of the first few seasons, and then it's just like I'm watching it because I'm like a holdout that it's going to eventually get better. It's eventually going to recapitalize on what it initially proposed to me, and I hate when I have that point where I just don't hit anymore. It just doesn't land.
How the series does so well with its three major fights, being Ryo vs Naoto 1 and 2, and Ryo vs Toma, that I had to catch myself rooting for the underdog once I immediately remembered who this individual was, asking the question of who is right, and then if a character like this can be saved, and what kind of atonement can exist for such an individual, who actively rejects any opportunity to repent, since he has already given up on himself. The answer to that question that this manga ultimately provides, and rightfully so in this case, is fuck no. Ryo is a rage-filled animal who lashes out on everything he can get his hands on, as if he despises his very existence, and knows no other way to live, but further isolates himself in his sins. His sister resurfaces as an important part of his character after the first Naoto fight, seeming to be the only person he cares for, and did things for until the final arc. Not saying this to justify anything. Fuck this guy. But it is worth mentioning there are legitimate moments where you wonder if there is any hope, and it gets you thinking about the fear that drives this character. Shamo presents a character with moments that are not meant to absolve him, but remind us that he is human. These are the stretches of the story that show Shamo at its strongest, flipping the script on its head and making us observe an individual worthy of the devil title, fighting against people we wish to see win. Thematically, the three fights Ryo vs Naoto 1 and 2 and Ryo vs Toma knock it out of the park. One who has to preserve his light to protect what he stands for, but just like Ryo wishes to rise above his struggles through fighting, and the other an angel, the beauty of fighting in the flesh, wishing to save Ryo, but ultimately falling short. The fights itself, the character exploration during these fights, mixed with the religious symbolism, and then you add the complete switch of the normal roles we see in a fighting series, man, this is some excellent shit. Toma is a very interesting character, but plot-wise, he feels forced, as if there was something missing from his character that would explain his desire to save Ryo. Regardless, I love that fight. Sadly, Ryo vs Naoto is set up for a trilogy that never happens, and Ryo vs Toma reaches a tragic conclusion, but it still felt like more was supposed to happen there as well, or at least I would have preferred Toma to build himself up again, or perhaps have a sequel fight with Ryo instead of the two.
Well, I'm betting buddy gets like killed in an alleyway or something, and at that point it would kind of make sense because it just like some people are past saving. You never get that. Yeah, it's never giving you the payout you want, and it's just giving you the sad ending. But we'll see.
Characters we got fighting Ryo in the end. once again giving very powerful and confrontational moments about what a hateful heart can create at his absolute worst and the torment that comes with it, forcing us as the audience to see that Ryo is capable of feelings despite our wish to box him in as purely evil, but then failing to take this emotional spine of the series as it pertains to the two most important characters outside of Ryo to its natural conclusion. We'll wrap things up with characters like his sensei Kurokawa, and bring back other characters from the past, some of which you might have even forgotten. But it's odd the same isn't done, especially with Naoto, and you could argue Tomo wasn't needed after their fight, so I'm not as hung up on that one. Had Naoto died when Ryo visited him in the hospital bed, then we're having a different conversation, but Naoto is seen rehabbing and pushing for the long-awaited third fight. Then I was given a very important piece of context as it pertained to the
Dude, I do think it's funny. I'm watching this and I'm like thinking about like I'm thinking just about like the folly of man and stuff, and I think that's pretty powerful. I think this is powerful in the ability to do exactly what like Taxi Driver did. Because I'm sorry, there's really no redeeming qualities of the Taxi Driver guy. Same thing with like King of Comedy. You watch King of Comedy, he is the bad guy. He never becomes the good guy. He's just a vicious human being. Same with the Joker, and I think that that's super like an interesting dynamic to have you rooting for the villain even though he's so irredeemable.
of Shamo. Remember earlier in the video when I mentioned how this manga felt like two people couldn't agree what to do with the series, given that it feels like two people were working on this and they couldn't come to an agreement? Well, it turns out that was actually the case. That explains so much, since I was getting concerned that I was reading the equivalent to oil and water at times and it was just a me thing. Turns out the artist sued the writer for 150 million yen.
Holy shit, dude. Holy shit, dude. Bro was like, fuck you, bro. Oh, damn.
In a copyright lawsuit back in 2007, stemming from creative disagreements over what to do with the series, and the artist took over after its hiatus. With all due respect, his art is fantastic. Top tier shit. But he
terrible fucking writer. He seems like a terrible fucking writer.
should have just stuck with the art. As a series, I already felt it struggled with pacing and keeping the story focused. If I were to isolate the best of Shamo, I would wholeheartedly agree with those who vouch for it as a masterpiece, but I can't ignore all of the stuff in between, and the ending. I can see the idea that Shamo is going all in with subverting the typical things in a martial arts series, going as far as to deny the final battle between two rivals even. As a concept, that sounds beautifully tragic, but when you actually read the fucking manga, it isn't executed in a way that conveys said concept. But if not, it just reads as if the artist turned author completely forgot about it. The final arc is a mix of rushed in terms of the time we spend with Ryo reflecting on his life. Although we get some very good scenes, but it felt like more was supposed to happen. Unfinished plot.
Bro, it's having its fucking Rocky 5 moment where it just that's supposed to be the send-off, but it's not good at all. So we get the good send-off, Rocky Balboa, and even better send-off in the Creed movies.
Lines, especially with Naoto, who's being set up to face Ryo again, and instead we get these two whack-ass characters, culminating in an ending that is fitting for Ryo and his sins, but sullied by a poorly executed plot. Ryo finds a girl who he connects with via her art, and helps her escape her father, a reminder of the type of parent that Ryo freed himself from. The father contracts these two to take care of Ryo and bring his daughter back home. Ryo in this part of the story has calmed down quite a bit, but his reputation precedes him, leading to a fight with these two, ultimately leaving Ryo crawling to his inevitable death. I'm a sucker when it comes to fairy tales being told within a story to symbolize what is happening in the actual story, but great symbolism in this case feels like duct tape on a cannonball-sized hole in a ship.
Absolutely. So if you were gonna do this, dude, what they should have done is like have him change and be good, only to be killed by a nonsensical act of violence. That would have been beautiful. That would have like actually turned it on its head. Like have him meet the girl and like give up on fighting, decide he doesn't want to fight that guy anymore, like start to live a peaceful life, and then get shot in an alleyway. That would have been like a way more poetic. Like, look, dude, you put all this violence out in the world, and even though you thought you moved past the violence never moves past you. There's always somebody else just as vicious out there, or something like that. You could have something like that it could have meaning. It could build on. You can like create your own what you want that meaning to be, in regards to the context. But with this, it's just like, Yeah, so they hire these two fucking guys and they like beat the fuck out of him and he dies.
Shamo is a hit or miss manga, since I'm sure for some, the great moments of the series outweigh the lows, and I can appreciate what it addresses when it comes to evil, society as a whole, he who performs, and he who is on the receiving end. It shows the path of a character that breaks the norms of what fighting manga can do with the main character, and how evil is presented often in manga. But being different is enough to get me interested, but that alone isn't enough to keep me satisfied with everything else, ultimately making Shamo more interesting in isolated stretches and as a discussion piece more than a series worth reading from the start to the end. He had me skeptical, then really had me, then lost me for a bit, but hey, you had me again, and then you fucking lost me just to have me for like the last 5 chapters. My feelings largely remain the same when I did the reread for this video. Again, the ending as it pertains to Rio when you ignore what caused it is a great scene. Finally, with the chance to live a life of
Dude, it sucks so bad when you get to an end of something and it just doesn't feel like you had any payoff. So after you hit those big moments, you're like, oh, this is gonna be so good. And then it just is like up and down, up and down, up and down. But it's not like a steady, like straight line. It's just like, it's like watching a stock plummet until the company goes bankrupt. You're just like, I don't want to sell my stocks. I don't want to sell my stocks. I don't want to sell my stocks. I'm broke. And that, it just sucks, dude. I don't know. I've seen so many things where it just squanders a great idea.
And no longer be alone, to experience love and accept it for once. But that would not be a deserved ending for a man like that. He would need another 200 chapters worth of atonement to pull that ending off. He dies the way he lived, in the wilderness, alone.
Well, and it would have been, they still could have done the death, dying in the wilderness alone. I just think they did it in a dog shit way. This is just stupid, bro. They should have had a senseless act of violence kill him to, like, embody all of his senseless acts of violence.
Refusing to be looked down on to the bitter end. He is no more than an ant crushed in the wild. A human who dove headfirst into his own darkness to find himself, but tragically, forgetting how easy it is to get lost in the dark. Really bold idea for a character in a series, ultimately hurt by a lack of clear and consistent direction. Still, a fitting end for one of, if not the most vile and evil main character in manga.
That was incredible. This was an incredible video. I mean, of course, it's the Masked Man, so he's always doing incredible videos. But, like, it's just, like, I really have always liked that dynamic. And I think one of the best things I've ever, one of the best writers of this type of dynamic is Danny McBride and his comedies. Every single one of Danny McBride's type of comedies that he's written alongside of, I can't remember the producer of all those movies and the main writer of all those, that it works with Danny McBride. But when they create these characters, they always wanted it to be just somebody that was just so irredeemable, but for some reason you keep rooting for him because it's a comedy. And I love that style, and it's something that makes his stuff feel so fresh, at least so fresh in a world where comedy was dwindling, especially good comedies. I mean, even like Righteous Gemstones, I still think is one of the best comedy shows we've had in years and years. Now, I haven't seen the last 2 seasons, but I know the first 2 are incredible. So it's just one of those things that it's like, when I saw Eastbound and Down and Vice Principals and a lot of the movies that he's done, I just see that's like, it's crazy how you can get me to root for somebody like Danny McBride's character. But that's all I got on that one, guys. It was absolutely incredible, absolutely interesting, and as always, the Masked Man knocked it out of the fucking bark. All right, boys and girls and boys, we got one more. I'm excited to do this one because I actually started watching a little bit of this. I've been spreading it out between Hulu and doing a little bit on Crunchyroll as well. But we're gonna be getting into the anime that should not work by the Masked Man. Now, the thumbnail for this is obviously from Gintama, and I watched a little bit of Gintama the first season on Hulu, because the first season's dubbed on Hulu, and then it's like 400 more episodes aren't dubbed, and then at episode 466, it is dubbed on Crunchyroll. And I watched episode 466 one day just because I was like, what is this Gintama thing about? And I watched it. It was one of the funniest episodes of any anime I've ever seen ever. Dude, I was dying laughing.
If I told you that I was almost 100% sure that if you gave this anime a chance it would stick with you the rest of your life, would you give it a shot? If I added on top of that,
Absolutely, dude. Gintama, like, it's gonna be one of those things that at first you're not gonna, like, it's not gonna land that hard. But, like, the more you watch Gintama, the weirder it gets and the funnier. Like, there's some episodes that don't land, obviously, but there's so many more episodes that the comedy lands so hard that there's gonna be times where you're gonna be dying laughing.
I was a bit of an adamant hater of this anime when I first gave its manga a shot, and even the publication was skeptical of it at first, not expecting the sales to be good and the series itself being at risk of being axed very, very early on. The anime itself hints at struggles it had to stay on air, but I think by that point Gintama had found success and was simply playing the cute underdog. Even then, they weren't really hints, just full-on segments and bits and episodes, but after watching the entirety of Gintama, I owe it a huge apology. Saying it's a show for everyone might be a bit much.
This episode right here is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in anime. It is so fucking hilarious, dude. I was like in stitches laughing in parts of this episode. It's like 2 or 3 episodes that are like a continual story, and it's so funny.
But if you're looking for a series to chill and laugh, looking for a great anime, looking for something one of a kind, looking for a great cast of characters, Gintama checks all of those boxes. But if that's the case, why did it struggle at first, and why would I be worried some of you will never give it a try like I almost did? Saying Gintama's eccentric is like saying it kinda hurts to be a Raiders fan. It doesn't really capture the full
Being a Raiders fan is a rough livelihood. I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I get it. It sucks being a Cowboys fan as well. Also, being a Lions fan, that would be another sports, like another NFL team that it would just suck to be their fan because they just never seem to make it to the house.
Image. It's a massive understatement at the very least. It's a story that takes place in an alien-invaded Edo, Japan, where being a samurai and using...
Wait, is that Whitney? Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yo, what just happened? What just happened, dog? Did it just change? No, it was just, that was the most weird cut ad I've ever had on YouTube, dude. That hit me in like the butthole. I got butthole punched. From that
is
ad.
now banned. Shinpachi is trying to help his sister keep their family dojo open and runs into a man that would change his life forever, Gintoki, who runs an odd jobs company and hires Shinpachi as his employee. This initial premise, however, fails to capture any of what the plotted story is going to be like. The trio is then completed when Kagura joins, the female lead of the story that pretty much goes against every trope that would have been common in female leads at the time, especially just within Weekly Shonen Jump. So the series starts off purely as a comedy for its first couple of episodes, with occasional dashes of sentimental scenes where a lesson is taught at the end. Which, quick side note, the piano soundtrack that plays in almost every episode, and Take Care Brother, moved me to tears more often than it had any right doing. I would like to play it in the background of this video, but
Bro. Just, you're crying in a Gintama episode? Dude, now I know why you wear the mask, man, dude. Big sensitive boy over here. Look at this guy, big gay. He's the big gay.
It's a little bit tricky, but before I go all the way there, Gintama is a weird mix of many different things. I mean, you're in an alien-invaded Edo, Japan, where the main cast of characters is an odd jobs business. But this story was originally based off of the real-life Shinsenigumi, a force that existed back in the 1800s to guard the shogun. Their story was turned into drama films, and this would serve as inspiration to Hideaki Sorachi, the author of Gintama. The group is still in the story, but the main character and focus changed drastically. Originally, Hijikata being the MC, and even though I love this character, I would say the change was the right choice. The more the story was worked on, the more different elements like the science fiction and comedy shifted it into a completely different direction. Sorachi himself describes as what we now read or watch being Gintama as a science fiction human drama pseudo-historical comedy. Whenever there are discussions about Gintama, you always hear about the final arcs, but early it's an episodic comedy, but a good amount of the comedy is very cultural. As the series goes on, it leans more into lowbrow universal humor and references more well-known to us, but early a good amount of the jokes won't hit for most people. I think this is the concern publishers had, since given the
I'm gonna be real, like the first, what I've seen on the Hulu, first season, I still think some of the shit hits. It's weird as fuck, but it still hits.
Landscape of what was really selling at the time, something is different and as hard to put into a box like Gintama, it's a true wild card where you don't know how it's going to perform. This is also the part of the story where we're being introduced to all of the different characters that end up becoming beloved and fleshed out. But for now, they are eccentric personalities within an eccentric world.
Another thing I hate about Gintama, my voice cracked a little bit there, but another thing I hate about Gintama is the fact that it's like the dubbing is all over the fucking place. You got like the first 40 episodes dubbed on Hulu, then nothing to 466. Are you fucking kidding me?
These weird quirks, however, that the characters have allow them to be very memorable so that the story can jump to something else. Whether it's the chief of police Kondo being a stalker, Hijikata being a freak for mayonnaise, Shinpachi being a mega fan for an idol, all of the characters are given an ongoing gag that is being established. So there are a lot of reasons I wouldn't suggest skipping the early segments of Gintama, but it's because the quick punchlines later on won't make any sense and the character interactions will completely fly over your head. The running gags become distractions instead of pleasant additions when the anime then delves into more long, serious plots. So it's very essential to still watch all of this. Plus, I think a lot of the episodes early on are still very funny, like Katsura being a terrorist with bombs, but he still needs to avoid the Shinsenigumi, who are the police force of the story, and then his...
This was funny, dude. This is like, I've seen this episode, dude. I'm sorry, dude. Gintama just hits for some reason. And I like watched part of like an episode a while back because it was on a bunch of lists, and I'm like, this shit kind of sucks. And then I like watched the episode 466 because I was bored one night, and I watched all 3 of those episodes, said this is fucking amazing, and started watching the first season on Hulu.
Connection to Gintoki. It's a mix of the comedy actually having important introduction and information with the characters. I'm sure FC Barcelona fans, however, will love Katsura and relate to him a lot because he's also a cuckold. A la Madrid. So yeah, if you were ever even thinking of skipping
Dude, iDubbbz fans, we got you a character.
it, you'll miss the build-up of very important story elements that take place within the first season amidst all the humor and parody. It might be difficult for things to stick with you in the first episode since it will jump around a good bit, but it's nothing complicated, so you'll be able to keep up easily, and it's getting the stage set for what would be an all-time performance. Outside of what some might consider a slow start, full of character intros and a lot of niche humor, what else would stop someone or even you from giving it a try? This might be an unpopular thing to say, but I'm aware that watching a 300 episode plus anime with movies is a time-consuming task for people with what we call a fucking life, and probably the reason many who haven't watched it plan to keep it that way, especially for those who don't talk about anime for a living.
Well, and here's another thing too. Like I said, the dub is like fucking non-existent for like most of the episodes.
So everyone but like 8 people watching this. I did a rough estimate of how much time it would take to watch all of Gintama, and it was around 122 hours. To save time, so I could do other things and work on other things, I watched it at 1.25, especially the early parts, which personally allowed some scenes that drag as anime did back then tend to feel better, while not affecting the pace to the point where it feels unnatural or jeopardizing the information that I'm taking in, or really the timing of the jokes. I still thoroughly enjoyed what I watched, which is what matters. Which, by the way, Gintama even makes some brilliant fourth wall jokes about the production of the anime, with an episode about how it's done, the director being bad at his job constantly is a joke, and as well as episodes dedicated to being a manga
Dude, the director fucking sucks. He's the worst. He's got a weird penis. Nobody likes him. He fucking he reads the manga and he's like, I just don't want to do this, so I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. I love like a good self-deprecating joke. I always have, dude. They're so much fun to make.
Editor and presents the author of Gintama as a poo-flinging gorilla. When it came to the time I approximately saved, instead of 122 hours, it was only 97 hours. So I saved 25 hours by just ever so slightly speeding it up. If you think that watching an anime at a slightly faster pace is a cardinal sin,
This may
Dude,
be
if you think it's a cardinal sin, it's probably the same people that say that watching it at dub is a cardinal sin. And I'm sorry, dude. I'm here to like fully enjoy the entire show. So get the fuck out of here, dude. I don't want to be reading the whole time.
have to do
It's
it.
not that I can't read and watch it at the same time. I just want to enjoy both the dialogue and the action for its full greatness without having to sacrifice a bit of each.
But for those that want to save a good amount of time without just skimming through it, there you have it. It is very difficult to compare Gintama to anything else, but if I had to in order to paint a picture of what it feels like, its inspiration Rurouni Kenshin, but instead the main character's comedic elements are turned up to 100. It still has the similarities though of the layers being peeled back into the character's backstory and the things that haunt his past slowly coming back to threaten the people he currently cares about. So the Kenshin inspiration can be felt with how this story goes about Gintoki. A main character we know has more to his past that is kept a mystery, as the more friendly aspects of his character is what makes us like him for the time being. The heavy comedy makes it feel more comparable at first to something like The Amazing World of Gumball than any other popular shonen title. Even in this early section of the story, it still manages to hit hard in the feels with certain character moments. Hijikata and Sogo's backstory, showing one of Gintama's special qualities, being able to make you laugh harder than most pure comedy anime while having serious, impactful scenes that hit extremely hard as well. That special quality of the series only gets better and better as you learn more about each character and form a bond with them. Its ability to maintain...
I really wish they would. I'm gonna keep saying this, dude. I really wish they would just fucking finish the dub. And this is a problem I've had with like Crunchyroll as like a service. Is I feel like Sony's a lazy ass company that refuses to like put in even a marginal amount of effort. So instead of going through and like doing a good job of like making sure that they like purchase the rights to a bunch of dubs, you end up with shit like Food Wars and Gintama. Well, Food Wars is like glaringly bad too. If you don't know how Food Wars works, the first season's on Hulu. The second season is nowhere. It is absolutely nowhere. The third season's on Crunchyroll, but it's not dubbed. They did dub the third season. It's just not dubbed on Crunchyroll. The fourth season's dubbed though, and then the fifth season's not dubbed again. The fuck? The fuck? And the Gintama's kind of the same way. Like, I think they actually dubbed through like the first like 100 something episodes, but they only had the first 40 that's available on Hulu. So then if you really want to get into the weeds of it, they don't dub anything else, and then they just randomly decide to start dubbing at 466, which makes no sense.
A comedic identity while not shooting itself in the foot allows for an exploration into these characters that many series can't really get into because of the type of story they are. Example, Gintoki is not just a hero, a legendary swordsman who's a part of a group of other legendary warriors, a wise man who through absurdity ties in some amazing life advice, but also a gambling alcoholic troll who is also a scammer and morally reprehensible in general. So despite me being pretty damn sure the author just made shit up as he went along, it doesn't matter since he was able to create a huge cast of characters where I'm willing to bet your life that you will have one that is not only your favorite in the series, but your favorite in all of anime and manga. Whether it's because of the writing, the fun dynamic they create, or both, I'll just rattle off some names. Obviously Gintoki, who is the combination of everything that I love about Kenshin as a character and Onizuka from GTO. Shows the benefits of slowly building up a character, and once again, due to
I need to watch GTO too. I heard GTO is pretty good, and it's just something I have not watched. It's on my watch later. It's something I'm gonna get to, but it is something I have not touched.
Gintoma's unique style allows for many aspects of Gintoki to be shown in all different types of scenarios. Even when I first tried giving Gintama a shot years ago, it was evident to me that the story was building to something, but now being on the other side of the ending, he's awesome. And the praise for the character is completely valid, although some go a bit overboard. Also, because of his often jokey, lighthearted way of being, most of the time, the moments where Gintoki is enraged do hit a bit different. It's like a family member you never see angry get pop off. Hijikata's right up there, serving as a good contrast to Gintoki's style of life. The episode where they swap bodies is a great example, but Hijikata also has my favorite backstory out of all the characters outside of Gintoki. Kagura also ended up being so well done once you learn more about her and her family and how she needs to grow. So she actually...
Dude, it's crazy to me. It's so crazy to me how Gintama can be like, in the few episodes I've watched, is already better than Naruto. Oh, wait. That's not fair to Gintama. Gintama seems like it's quality and Naruto's dog shit. It's better than a lot of the shit that I watched like right out of the gate. It just hits weirdly different.
It has a compelling storyline and isn't just a subversion of what's considered the typical female shonen lead. Kamui is also one of my favorites for reasons that are none of your concern. Sogo, Kondo, pretty much everyone in the Shinsenigumi.
He's gooning. Whoever that character is, he strokes it off nice and slow to it.
Zenzo and the Shogun were also two characters I did not expect to like that much, and of course Takasugi, which for a while I thought was really good, but I didn't quite understand the hype until I finished the series. And yeah, I see the hype now. But the goat of the entire show is, of course, Hasegawa. I eventually want to do videos dedicated to these characters because they deserve it, but there's only so much I can say when trying to appease people who have seen it while selling it for people who haven't. Hence why there's one character I won't...
Dude, I will watch every single Gintama breakdown he does. Absolutely, without a doubt. I haven't watched all of Gintama. I will never watch all of Gintama because that's a lot of episodes to like sit through and like read all the dialogue, and I'm not like that. I like watching anime where I'm like chilling, my daughter's sleeping on my chest, I'm just like relaxing. It's a relaxing thing for me. I don't do anime for a living. I'm not making the breakdowns. It would be different if I knew that I could make a video, pop it out, get 100,000 views, and have that shit pay my mortgage. That would be way different. But I don't have that, and I probably will never have that. So as of right now, I'm just doing this shit because I enjoy it. It's just something like I like, so I'm going to enjoy it in the best way possible for me. So I watch Gintama when I want to chill, so I'm not going to be watching the undubbed episodes. Eventually, I will hopefully watch the whole thing, and hopefully they'll dub everything, or maybe remake it and then dub it all. I just hate the fact that the companies like Crunchyroll won't just do like the minimal effort to pay some voice actors to get the shit done.
Talk about for now, but that I also thought was really good for the most part. Whatever praise One Piece or any other series gets for bringing back characters and expanding on them in ways that make them feel utilized to their fullest potential, I would argue none of them really come close to Gintama. Although not every series is structured in a way with the purpose of bringing characters and tying them back in, and instead having them serve a purpose in a specific arc, and that's perfectly fine. But if you feel a little tired of series doing characters dirty for the hell of it, or not having characters live up to their fullest potential...
Naruto, every character in Naruto fucking sucks. I love making fun of Naruto. It's like my favorite thing about like doing anime stuff is just I get a shit on Naruto just because I want to. Everybody who's Naruto fans will get really, really mad, and that makes me a little happier because you're dumb for liking Naruto.
You don't have to worry.
You want Popeyes right now? Then order Popeyes. Give me like a chicken sandwich or something with bacon on it.
About that here. Season 1 and 2 are both good, fun, with some hard-hitting moments that will stick with me, but for the most part is once again relaxed setup. But then Season 3 hits. This is where I'm going to start talking about some of the more serious spoiler-heavy things in the series, so if you want to leave, and leave a like while you go, now's your chance. As for the rest of you that want to hear my thoughts on the
We're not leaving because we're not pussies. We're not little pussy-ass bitches who are scared of spoilers. Oh no, spoilers! Let's be afraid! No, we ain't pussies. We don't need any hand-holding.
Better half of Gintama. There are certain things I would like to say that aren't appropriate for YouTube, and so I just won't say them. But I'll try and gather my thoughts. So first off,
do you have some thoughts about everything, Savannah? What do you want to say? Do you have ideas? Yeah, I see you. You're pondering. What are your deep thoughts about Gintama? Oh, yeah. That's what I think too. That's pretty good, huh?
Off Season 3,
Sandwich when we add bacon?
Yeah, dude.
and the whole story.
Wait, spicy. I just want like a regular chicken sandwich. I usually like spicy, but like I just want like normal crunchiness.
Combo?
Yeah.
In conflict with the old man and old lady who were secret lovers was so beautiful, and seeing the
By
characters.
the way, there's also this funny ass episode. There's another funny ass episode with these two random characters where the fucking there's this like one guy who works for the police force is becoming like a ninja, and it's like making fun of Naruto in a way, but like it's also being nice to Naruto. But like I fucking love that episode.
Come together for a longer ongoing conflict was happening more and more later on in Season 1 and 2, but to see what Gintama is like with a serious arc that lasts more than one movie or 2-3 episodes did not disappoint. It maintained its comedic identity, but never compromised those hard-hitting emotional scenes, which is the overall sentiment for what happens next. But I was already falling in love with the characters, but now I was given reasons to fall in love with the actual story. It gave an antagonist that was relatively generic, but did the job perfectly by making him a detestable piece of shit, and that's all this arc really needed. Nothing too complicated on that part. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think if simplicity serves in the purpose of the story being able to communicate a message clear and allow for the emotional aspects of it to really stick with you more, then that's all for the better. Seriously, this, oh my goodness, I loved it. However, the turning point for the series, when it never really looks back at all, entering the Shogun assassination arc. When y'all said this was one of the best arcs ever, I wanted to give it a fair chance, but I was wondering how Gintama would go from what you see in its first half to that, and the way this story ties in so many different storylines together in this grand tragic conflict was perfect. I have no complaints about this arc at all, and it shows that sometimes the best thing for a story is to be patient and place all the right things in the right place. A lot was on the line in the last arc, with the position of the Shogun and the powers that control the region, but in Shogun Assassination, there is a legit threat to the life of the Shogun, and the conflicts that present themselves feel a lot more personal to the characters we've been following this entire time. I wouldn't say you could really binge the early parts of Gintama, but this part of Gintama is the easiest to binge along with Season 3, since each episode is heavy and carries momentum into the next with some really good action. The top-notch shit. There are a lot of very memorable moments in this arc, but the most would have to be the fight between Gintoki and Takasugi, and then the ending of the arc, which was just Mwah, chef's kiss. You would be lying if you said you expected the Shogun and Tidy Whities was going to have your heartstrings clenched in agony. It gave the feeling that what happens actually has weight, as they are getting involved with
This is something that's really hard for a lot of things to do, and even this isn't like just a comedy. I mean, the comedy, it's difficult because there's so many times where it's trying to do the jokes more important than telling the narrative, but also on the fact that like just normal shows have trouble like continuing like a good arc. Like I've been really mean on Naruto this episode, so I'm gonna keep being mean to Naruto this episode. The pain arc, all this hype, all this build up, all this stuff's going on, and then it just doesn't fucking sink the landing, and it's just like, we need to talk it out. He talks to Naruto for 2 seconds and just forgets about everything he was doing, and it's just so retarded.
Large forces at play that have changed their world, more of Gintoki's past resurfacing to affect what is happening now. There are strong character moments in this arc, but for some of the characters, they already had their defining backstory and moments that made me invested in who they are. Their motivation or moral code was handled way earlier, allowing what goes on here to be a great pace without having to slow down too much and explain why we should care about everyone involved in this. I think Season 1 is a lot better than talked about, but even if I thought Season 1 and 2 were bad,
Dude, I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, Season 1 is like jarring as shit a lot of times, and I didn't like Season 1 until I'd already watched some of the later episodes that were, or like the ones that like 466, and I watched some of those, and I went back to the first season to kind of get like a full grasp of Gintama, and I thought it was funny because I'd already kind of fallen in love with the characters. The first time I tried to watch Gintama was episode 1, and I did not like it. So what I would suggest is, if you're not sure about Gintama, watch episode 466 because it's the beginning of a new season. It makes jokes about being a part of a new season and like rebooting itself, and it ends up being like this contained arc that's like 2 or 3 episodes, and it's fucking amazing, dude. It's so funny. I had it on at night one time, and I was just like planning on falling asleep to a show that I'd never really watched before, and me and my wife were both dying laughing, and she doesn't really even like anime. There's a couple that'll keep her engaged, but she was dying laughing with me, dude. It was so good. So watch that. If it's not for you, then Dipsky McClitsky, but if it does hit for you, definitely then check out the first season.
3 and everything after is 100% going through it. Things are made personal every time Gintoki and Takasugi interact, but I was wondering in what way would the greater threat mean to Gintoki beyond just threatening what he cares about. In particular, how the payoff was going to work with his backstory in full, and how that was going to resurface given that Gintoki seems to have mostly moved on from all of this and is trying to live in the present, even though he still carries this sorrow in his eyes. Now, if you didn't leave after the first spoiler warning, this is when I'm going to get into the final stuff of Gintoki.
Double spoiler warning for you extra pussies out there. The ones that were like, I can handle little spoilers, but you hit me with a big spoiler, I will fucking diarrhea in my diaper right now. I will diaper max with the best of them. Those guys, we're putting in a little fucking caveat here for you massive poop maxers out there.
Tama, so leave now. Alright, now none of you can get mad at me. Okay. This is when it's revealed that the one behind the shenanigans is Gintoki's master, Shoyo. But how could that be, as it's always shown that Gintoki's master is a kind, loving individual? How could he be capable of this? Especially one who should be dead as the fuck, since Gintoki was given the choice to kill him or let his friends die, and he had to make the hard choice.
Dude, could you imagine having, dude, that's rough. I mean, I remember when I played the Wolfenstein, The New Order or whatever the reboot, the first reboot was by Machine Games, and I remember having to choose between those two people dying, and it was like such a tough decision for me, dude. I honestly had like to sit there. I even paused the game and I'm like, holy shit, this is a really impactful decision for me right now. I have to choose between two people that I've grown to like in this first chapter, and who gets to live and who gets to die. That shit's just kind of like powerful to see those moments.
It was revealed to be an immortal and split personality, which made sense and was honestly the best way to explain this twist. The original personality being Utsuro the entire time. It's given good justification once the backstory is explained. My only preference would have been to see all of those things in real time, but the retelling did a good job of making Utsuro's desire to wipe out the world be understandable. The hate that drives the character and his split personality being Shoyo allows for layers in this dynamic instead of a generic I hate the world, I want to make it go boom. Instead, it ties together the antagonist group working behind the scenes, ends up adding a lot to Oboro's character, somebody who's been a perpetual thorn in the side of the story, Gintoki and Takasugi, while expanding on the energy source that made Utsuro immortal. This final stretch of Gintama lasts for a bit, with even the protagonist side suffering a big defeat they have to recover from. It's funny to me how a series that doesn't take itself seriously seems to understand the concept of loss really well. So many great moments. I did not ever expect to feel sentimental for Oboro given the thorn in the side. Like I said, he was all series long, but there you have it. By this point, Gintama is more of an action shonen with some comedy, and the action is great. Though again, it's not a bait and switch. Gintama is still Gintama with its comedic identity.
Dude, I do think that it's cool that it eventually does become something deeper, and I need to get to this part. Well, he's got a swastika sword too. A lot of swastika. He's got the bleach sword, dude. He's got the manji. He's got the manji. I hope he doesn't use it in his I hope he doesn't pull it out when he does a content comp on a Jewish creator. That would look really bad
Throughout all of this, but I was wondering how I would feel about the conclusion of the series. In what way was it going to bring all of the major storylines to a satisfying conclusion? I can say with confidence, Gintama has one of the best endings ever, especially the fight that took place during the last movie. Dude, because look, previous stuff was handled, but how was everything with Gintoki and Takasugi and Utsuro all handled in a way that...
Dude, I went to look up like a list of the dub, and I just had people arguing about dub and sub in Reddit, dude. I'm trying to find what episodes are dubbed and which ones aren't. I just want to know what episodes are dubbed, dude. It's so dumb that I can't find this.
...to make it feel like the series landed on its ankle. It gave an amazing fight that tied into the character's past, concluded the conflict with Utsuro, and Takasugi became one of my favorite characters ever. This grand, high-stakes Star Wars-ass arc narrowed in and made everything so intimate. So yeah, definitely expect videos on Gintoki and Takasugi. I felt like when the character had been introduced, and as things went on and the more larger forces got into play, I was worried that Takasugi would be a little disappointing as things just moved on from him, but no, the story managed to keep him involved, and once again, just make everything so personal, especially with the conclusion of him as a character. And Gintoki is a walking life lesson all the time, when he isn't, being a piece of shit human being. It's genuinely such a great character.
Dude, there's a petition, dude. There's a fucking petition on change.org. There's a change.org to get all of Gintama English dubbed. It's got 152 signatures, so it's not doing very good. But it exists. It exists, bro. There's people like me who want more. Oh, dude. They want a little bit more love, dude. Oh, this is unfortunate.
So many awesome lines that never come off as pretentious because it's usually the absurd context that makes it like, well, where the hell did this come from? But genuinely, fantastic characters, an amazing cast. My only ever so slight thing is that maybe Shinpachi might come off as a little underwhelming, but I think that's just sort of what happens when you play the straight man a lot of the times within a comedy. But still, I think Gintama offers so much. So many positive messages that are communicated in ways different from most other things I've ever seen. It took me a few months to get through the anime, since it isn't something you can really...
It's episode 266 that goes English. I think I've been saying a different episode, like 466 or 366. It's episode 266 that does, and it's dubbed after that to like 316. Now it's not dubbed, I want to know when they're going to do past 316. Let's look this up real quick. I think it's dubbed to 316. Dubbed past 316. Nothing. No information. No information whatsoever, dude. When did this happen, dude? Dude, it's like, I don't think it's ever gonna happen, dude. I really don't think it's ever gonna get all fully dubbed, dude. Human or Demon. I mean, like, it sucks that it doesn't do the full show, dude. Like, they should just finish it at this point. Like, why wouldn't you?
Binge for the most part, but its weird, unique premise and style makes it stand out amongst anything. I laughed a lot, I cried a lot, and when it ended, I wished I could have my memory wiped so I can watch it again for the first time. Even now, I feel kind of nostalgic talking about it, and if you described it to someone, they might wonder how in the world a series like that works. It shouldn't, by all logic, but it does. My only regret with Gintama is that I didn't get into it sooner.
That's sad, dude. What? Who's Ziffer? Rip Ziffer. We're looking up what a Ziffer is. Is that like somebody he knew, or is that like, how do you spell Ziffer? Z-Y-P-H-E-R. Z-Y-P-H-E-R. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably somebody he knew, dude. I don't know. That's sad that they died. Fucking L on life, I guess. Sorry, bro. I feel pretty bad about it. All arcs in order. Here we go, dude. Here we go. We'll see what arc that you get from 316 on. So we're gonna go. Keep going. We need to get to 260 because 266 is the start of a brand new arc. At 100% is a like 61, 64. So those don't matter. So here's 266 to 271 are like a joke. This is the reunion party arc. That was a couple episodes that was kind of funny. We got the Dubuku arc, the Shin Megami arc, the Confession arc is coming in, the Soul Switch arc. We get the Kinayati arc, the Afro arc, the Shogun assassination arc, farewell to the Shinzigami arc, and that's it. You get you got to go through the Shinzigami arc, but then you don't get any. Well, I guess there's the Silver Surfer arc you don't get. The HD resolution arc you don't get, but that's not a ton more episodes that aren't dubbed. It's weird that they didn't dub the last like 60 episodes or 50 episodes. That's a little weird to me. Like 50 something episodes. 316 is where it stopped. Yeah, 316. So the last 53 episodes, they're just like, nah, fuck that, dude. We're not gonna do that. Unfortunate, dude. It's kind of crazy to me that they did do one of the big arcs and they just didn't finish the last big arc. That's fucking madly unfortunate. I need to get through because I think I got through. I was on this arc is where I stopped. And again, I'm very new to Gintama, so I'm not like I'm not like an expert or anything. I just know that what I've watched of it so far is really fun. And I've been kind of watching a little bit of the first season and a little bit of where the newer seasons are like the later seasons that are dubbed. And I've been kind of bouncing a little bit between both. But that's all I got on that one, guys. It's a little bit of fun here. I think this has been a really interesting rabbit hole to go down to. I think everybody needs to give Gintama a chance, even if they just watch a couple episodes here, or they watch like the little fun, little goofy filler bullshit that's the start of 266 to 271. They're really fun episodes. All of that happens in there are hilariously fun episodes, and I think that is enough to, if you don't like that, don't watch Gintama, but if you like that, definitely give it a shot. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, boys and girls, that is all I got for the stream. I can't do any more. I am mad tired. I want to go to sleep, to be honest with you. I want to crash out harder than I've ever crashed out before, dude. I'm gonna sleep so hard tonight, dude. It's gonna be just insufferably tired to get through. I am like.
So today I've got another piece of lost media for you, and by that I mean really lost, as in...
Wait, did I watch this one? I am so fucking confused. So I started with the red thing. Oh, so I guess I didn't do this. So actually, I think we got time for one more. Hold on. Yeah, visit site. We're gonna watch this. We're gonna watch this.
They told me that I would need to pay for Mom's medicine and that prescription.
So I didn't watch this one yet on the stream. I don't think so. Let's. I had a plan to do one more, so I wanted to do this one. So we'll give this one a shot. This is by Kenny Lauderdale. And this is what happens if you wait 30 years. Now, I don't know anything about this creator. As always, he has to win the right for the like. That is an important part of my channel. If your video is good enough that you hit to where you get that well-deserved like and subscribe, I will give it to you like a bad mamma jamma. But let's roll right into this one, boys and girls.
So today I've got another piece of lost media for you, and by that I mean really lost, as in, this is the first time anyone has even seen what this anime looks like in the past 30 years, and today we're gonna talk about it. So to catch you guys up, a while ago I did a video discussing a TV show from the 1980s called Hana no Asuka Gumi. It basically translates to Asuka the Great, and it was about a delinquent schoolgirl making friends and keeping the peace by being the toughest girl in all.
Look at her go, dude. She's a baddie, bro. She's a baddie. What we got going here, dude? I mean, we got me kind of heating up, dude. I'm getting a little hot in the collar here, bro. Ooh.
Japan. Each episode she would get into fights with rival delinquents, and its popularity spawned 2 live-action movies and 2 direct-to-video anime that never made it out of Japan. And while doing that video, I hit a little bit of a roadblock. I found the first anime just fine, but everywhere I looked there was this mention of a second anime that I couldn't even find screenshots of, let alone clips on the entire—
Dude, was this a Japanese Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Is that what we're witnessing right now?
Internet. And ever since then, it's gained this kind of mythical status in my mind as something that I would never find, let alone sit down and watch. It's part of this genre that pretty much only I like, where schoolgirls with long skirts and bad attitudes duke it out. And while Wikipedia—
Bro's gooning, bro. Bro's definitely got a weird fetish here. We need to like back it up there. You only like shows with schoolgirls and in skirts? Excuse me? Maybe you should broaden your horizon there, brother. Maybe go for a little bit older.
Yeah, says that this anime—
These are jokes, guys. Calm down. I'm not calling him what you think I'm calling him. He is an EDB 445. I'm just making some little hee-haws, you fucking weirdos. Stop inhaling so much like misted cum in the air and just chill out.
Exists. One sentence is not a very good Wikipedia article, if you know what I mean. It's actually kind of half a sentence, so yeah, not a lot to go off there. So being the nut job that I am, I dug a little bit harder than just typing it into Wikipedia, and I found bits and pieces of information about this anime all over the internet. A page exists saying when this anime was released and who worked on it.
By the way, I love when people go down rabbit holes like this. I actually have a video on my channel. I think it's like the horror game you've never heard of or something like that. And it was absolutely a rabbit hole that I never expected to go down. And I just started and pulling in content into my ass, dude. I was like super sucking with my butthole, dude. Just all this information. And I just knew I had to make a video on it.
But outside of one very low-resolution image, no actual screenshots of this anime existed. And I know this looks like a screenshot, but it's not. It's just art from some kind of like poster that they use to advertise the anime, so no help there. So then I go ahead and I check Google Images, as people often do. No results, just that same image, and also that thumbnail from the last video that I did on this series, so that's encouraging. My next step was to do it again using the Japanese name. No results there. I checked Japanese auction sites, hoping that I could physically buy the VHS tape.
Dude's working so hard for this. I didn't even put I found like some downloads to play the game I talked about, and I looked at it's not my type of game. It's not my era. I was going to just be really mean if I played it because I would have gotten like through the first level and wanted to just like absolutely step into traffic, and I wasn't willing to do that. So I just like talked about my deep dive, and that was good enough for me. This guy's going absolutely giggity schmoodle mode, which is based in cool.
Nope, not for sale anywhere. It might be amazing, it might be the worst anime of all time for all we know. Who knows? No one has ever seen this thing. And that's usually a really bad sign too, because there's almost always some guy with one copy of something on the internet asking some insane price because he's the only one who has it. So finally something does show up. They made a soundtrack for this anime, and it has some artwork, but that's not a screenshot, so still, kinda don't know what this anime looks like. Over the following weeks, I kept checking Japanese auction sites, and eventually something substantial does show up. Some animation cells go for sale. These were physical pieces of the anime, so now that I know that—
Dude's gonna find the entire storyboard before he finds the actual anime itself.
This anime exists, and it wasn't some audio drama that never got animated, my next idea was to go search through Japanese Twitter. Someone had to have a picture of the box, at least, right? Sure enough, I found a picture of the tape, but for whatever reason, they didn't bother putting any screenshots on the box, so I still have no idea what this anime actually looks like. In the following weeks, I find the cassette tape box for the soundtrack, and it too has its own artwork made specifically
Dude, this is amazing. Could you imagine the irritation he has at this point? He's like, I just want a fucking screenshot, bro. And they're like, well, what if instead we just keep putting original artwork on everything?
For the box, and at this point I'm basically losing my mind because I've found every single thing about this anime except the actual anime itself. It's around this time that I start to worry too, because even though I know it exists now, I haven't found it on Laserdisc either. And for those of you laughing, yes, Laserdisc failed pretty hard in America, but not in Japan. That was a different story. For most of the 1980s and even up until the early 2000s, you could get almost any anime that you wanted on Laserdisc. And I'm talking good anime like Big O and the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that the kids like these days. If an anime came out, it almost always had a VHS tape.
Dude, it's so crazy because like Laserdisc was like wildly it was like so ahead of VHS in so many ways, but it just did not take off. Everybody wanted tapes that grew mold.
And a Laserdisc version, but not this anime, VHS and VHS only. Now, it's not unheard of for an anime to only come out on VHS, but a lot of OVAs would be made specifically for rental stores, so this anime was probably never meant to be sold to regular people, which means its production numbers kinda low. So anyway, a few months pass, and at this point, I basically gave up. I search every place I can think of, and unless I physically go to Japan and find it in some back alley, this probably wasn't going to happen. I finished that video saying, hey look, I tried, alright? They call it lost media for a reason.
Dude is like, I'm cooked, dude. It's over. I give it a good effort. I'm gonna go back to like beating my meat to girls dressed in schoolgirl outfits. They're gonna be like legal age, guys. I promise you they're legal age. But the schoolgirl outfit does something for me. He's like, now enjoy my video and hit the like and subscribe. By the way, you should do that on my channel as well.
Give me a little bit of a break here. Fast forward to today, and out of basically nowhere, someone contacts me saying, as long as you do a video on this anime that no one has ever seen, I will lend you my copy of this VHS tape. So today it is my great privilege to have in my hands an anime so rare, so hard to track down, that even a single clip of it hasn't shown up in the past 30 years. What you are about to witness has not been seen by human eyes since the early 90s, and the fact
This is so cool, dude. This is so fucking cool.
that even a single copy of it is left is an absolute miracle. Even getting a copy that works is pretty lucky. They weren't exactly made to last 3 or 4 decades. So before I jump into this, I did a whole 14-minute video about this series, and if I know what I'm doing, there should be a card in the corner that you can...
Dude, okay. We're gonna do something real quick. We're gonna do something. I'm gonna pull his channel up in the secondary tab. We will watch his thing on that other video. We will definitely watch it. I don't know where, here we go. There it is. We will watch this video on another day. I definitely want to see this, dude. I'm so excited to like get some information on this thing right here, but for right now we are gonna finish this lost media thing because I am hook, line, and sinker, baby.
Catch up with. With that said, let's take a look at this anime so it can stop being lost media. Oh, and spoilers, I guess, for this anime that no one on planet Earth besides me is ever going to watch.
Hey, Droid!
Oh god, it already has better acting than this ad, dude. Hey, Droid! We're the new Disney show that nobody gives a shit about.
Hana no Asukagumi 2, Lonely Cats Battle Royale, is a direct-to-video anime made as a companion piece to the then-running manga series. It's set in 1990s Japan, and if you're familiar with Sukeban Deko or Shoujo Commando Izumi, this should all be pretty familiar territory for you guys. The story begins with an acquaintance of Asuka's, the only male character in this entire anime, stopping a fight from breaking out on a subway train. Someone wants to cut off a piece of his girlfriend's hair, and he just narrowly breaks it up for reasons that'll become apparent later in the anime. Fast forward to another part of Japan, and Asuka's just minding her own business, as she usually does, having a fight with 3 delinquent schoolgirls trying to make a name for themselves. But as Asuka roughs them up...
Dude, she's like, you want to mess with me? I got a coin on a chain, bitch. You don't want to you've gone to the wrong neighborhood. Yeah, don't go into my hood, bitch. I will coin the fuck out of you. I was like, I will throw this coin into your vagina just like a vending machine. I will mess with that slot.
Some sort of calling card with the name Strawberry Milk plastered on it. Now, Asuka doesn't know this at the time, but a tournament between every delinquent schoolgirl in the country just started, and she's become target number 1 without her permission. Every Sukeban with a reputation has been brought into this, and the battle royale won't stop until there's only a single girl standing. Also, did I mention...
Bro, we got a Yo-Yo Hakusho delinquent girl anime, bro. Let's go.
That Asuka is 14 years old. That would make her
instantly regret the vagina joke I made. Instantly regret it.
Oh, I don't know, the same age as Minky Momo when she was rising through the ranks. And I know it's an anime, but I can't help but laugh at that idea. Anime is serious business. So who started this tournament and why? Well, behind the scenes, 2 rich schoolgirls just started an underground gambling game where people bet on the winners, and whoever wins each round gets exclusive rights in their shady underground dealings. The opening scene was actually...
This already sounds like an amazing anime. I'm really hooked in.
A starting bet to see if someone could get a lock of hair off the Silver Ghost biker gang's...
By the way, I feel like this guy already deserved this. He already gets to subscribe and like. I mean, come on, dude. The guy's killing it. He's putting his full-length shaft on the screen for us all to see. He obtained an anime that is like dead to the entire world and internet. This dude deserves more than a like. He deserves like a good slow blow.
Mascot. Other targets are getting picked off one by one too, and pretty much all of them are people Asuka knows personally. And I mean like really personally. Even the creator of the series is on the tournament board. One of the tournament fighters is listed as a Takaguchi Gumi, which I can only assume is the manga author Takaguchi Sadosumi sneaking into her own anime. So Asuka slowly starts piecing things together, and she's got a fairly good idea who's behind all this. But just as she starts to figure things out, she gets jumped in a park by what I can only describe as Sukeban ninjas. I would love to know who actually animated this fight, and it's probably...
Dude, this is incredible, dude. I'm already seeing this action and stuff. This is really good artwork.
The most impressive piece of animation in the whole anime. Super stylized, experimental. I wouldn't be surprised if they spent half the budget on this one scene. So she walks the streets with her hands in her pockets after this, pretty much just doing what she does, and we get some of these really nice cityscapes with bright lights and cars going by that paint an image of 1990s, 1980s Japan.
I miss this shit, dude. I miss this shit in action movies. I miss this shit in like the anime stylized of this. It's just like there's something so stylistic about like the way that the 80s portrayed like cityscapes. You don't see this in movies anymore. You don't see this like static background of like comics in the US used to do this in the 80s as well, dude. It was just like so stylized. Now I get like the gritty and like the realistic looks better in terms of like appeal, but I like there was just something about like this blurred windows and shit that I absolutely love.
That really
it makes me think of there was a movie called it was with Michael Douglas. It was called like Black Midnight or something. I'll have to look it up. Hold on, I'll look it up while we play this.
Don't get anymore. And after that, Asuka scares these rich girls so badly that they just decide to cancel the tournament on the spot. But they're in way over their heads, and once the wheels are turning, there's nothing that they can even do to stop it. Other people.
Black Rain, like instantly, dude. Instantly, if I go to Black Rain, dude, and I pull up the main picture from the movie, dude, and you'll see why, dude. Tell me you don't like fucking see it, dude. You don't see the resemblance of this, dude. You don't see like the stylized look of the same shit, dude. It was like this was 90s as well, but that early 90s, 80s like vibe, dude. Oh, I miss that, dude. I miss it so much. I loved movies like this. I love movies like the old Stallone films and stuff. It was just a different era where it was just like you could cut back and have something cheesy but fun at the same time. No, it was 89, so it was definitely released in 89, so late 80s, early 90s.
People are placing bets on these fights that are way scarier than Asuka is. It's around this time we get a bunch of flashbacks that actually tell us what Asuka was like before the series started, and we get introduced to her mentor, a character I'm sure is expanded on in the manga. None of this is going to make any sense for people who haven't read it though. The finale is a fight between Asuka and her former mentor, and there's a lot of romantic tension between the two, but it's all conveyed through fist fighting and gold coin throwing justice. Some really nice slow falling snow falls during this entire scene, and there's something about old anime snow that makes me feel nostalgic for the 1990s. I'm probably having—
Dude, it's not just that, it's like all of this era. It was even like 80s and 90s movies did this really well. And I feel like the problem with modern movies is they're just so fucking dark, and like the older movies knew how to like balance the lighting better.
Flashbacks to Rurouni Kenshin. I almost feel bad even spoiling this, but this series has no chance of ever coming out in English, and if some madman did not physically lend me this tape, we wouldn't even be talking about it, so what can you do? I'm just happy that we can actually look at this thing. It's like watching the last 2 episodes of an anime that you never started to begin with. The creators of this series were clearly pulling from over 4 years of manga at this point, and there's a bunch of group dynamics and drama that's just not going to translate for people who haven't read that series. And this anime was actually a brand new story penned by the original author specifically for this OVA, so there was clearly a lot of time and effort put into making this. The music wasn't just by some nobody either. It was done by legendary composer Kenji Kawai, who did the music for a little known movie that you might have heard about called Ghost.
Oh, dude, the baby's making an appearance. At least the back of her head is.
Ghost in the Shell, the 3rd episode of Dream Hunter Rem, and Mob Psycho, which I didn't know until this video, so that's kind of cool. And just like—
oh, dude, that's wonderful. The people who delivered our food literally put it so close to our screen door that we can't open the door without knocking the drinks over. I mean, if it's so bad, Dahlia, what I could do is I could walk around the house.
the first anime, Asuka was voiced by legendary voice actress Tsuru Hiromi, who voiced such iconic characters as Ghost Sweeper Makami, and also Bulma from Dragon Ball Z. So it wasn't just a bunch of nobodies who worked on this. To drive that point home, this series is still getting new chapters, and I mean really recently too.
Bro, this shit's like that Detective Conan shit where it just is constantly going for the rest of time.
Hana no Asukagumi Infinity just came out in July of 2019, and if they had any intention of putting this out there, then that boat just sailed, but boy is it an interesting piece of anime history all the same. Oh, and if you're watching this video and it's suddenly not lost media, or a copy of this goes for sale at some insane price, look, I'm not a time wizard, so if the impossible happens and this anime shows up somewhere, then I guess the video did its job, so don't go
Bro's secretly like hedging his bets for when he leaks it online.
Telling me that you found it, because as of this video, this is all true. I wouldn't go through that amount of work to just make up a lie like that. I don't want to hear stuff like, hey, I found screenshots of this anime, after I just made a video showing you the anime, so cut me a little slack here. I'm sure it'll be all over Google Images the day after I put this out. And if you want to see more videos about these weird anime that really only I care about, all you have to do is hit subscribe, then you gotta hit that bell, then you gotta click that be notified about all videos.
Dude, I have to say I love videos like this where they go into lost media and they like actually are able to find it. I mean, just because I've done like stuff like this, it's just such a fun rabbit hole to go down. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, well, you're just doing like reaction commentary slop, and that's fair. I mean, a big portion of my channel is that for growth reasons and not wanting to be stuck in like the trenches for the rest of my life. But once a week I do release a fully edited original piece that I put together and I have a lot of fun with. And when I go down these rabbit holes, there's just something about like the intrigue and the interest of it all. Like I went down a rabbit hole, not just the one I was talking about with the horror game, but I also went down the rabbit hole of Soldier of Fortune, right? So Soldier of Fortune magazine, it was such a popular and influential magazine for such a long time. But it's almost become lost media at this point because it's so hard to find any information about it, which is weird for something that big and influential. So when I went down the rabbit hole, it was like I was trying to find videos, I was trying to find like information on it, and I just kept running into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And that's why I ended up doing such a big deep dive on my Soldier of Fortune video, even though I was only originally planning on talking about the game, because I wanted to learn the intrigue about it. I was asking older coworkers, I was asking like my parents and grandparents, what was the lore of Soldier of Fortune? And it's this type of stuff that I find very, very interesting, to where you have this bug that's eating you alive, and eventually you do have to put out the video, irregardless of how you found it, or if you didn't get to the conclusion you got to. At a certain point, sometimes even just talking about the journey to it is enough to get people to maybe click on that video and provide you with even more information. And that's something that's cool about YouTube and about social media, because at any point we can like have this this collaborative effort to like build upon these ideas, to like create this giant web of different people like feeding in. And I think it's really cool, and I just love that I can be even a part of that, even with making this, that it can maybe inspire somebody else to be like, oh, I want to go on deep dives about different things, and I want to do this. And it's just like, it's cool. I just really love this entire like ecosystem that we're living in, and how like inspiring it is to just be able to like engage with this giant like cool ecosystem. I mean, because it does suck that media dies, but at least there's people that are willing to like to put videos out, to talk about it, to like shine a light on it, and that way that the past doesn't just like die away in the past. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.